Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 40 of the Addicted podcast. This week we're being hosted by Soldotcreate and unfortunately Madness and myself could not make this show. We had prior engagements. I just wanted to apologise in advance because there were some sound issues. Unfortunately Windows and Skype decided to have updates and turn different options on and off. I've done my best to clear up the sound. Hopefully it's still enjoyable for you all, so please sit back, relax, and listen to the podcast.
Woo! All right, everyone. Welcome to Addicted Podcast. Number 40 already. Number 40. Ryan, you look surprised. You look surprised.
There's just like no countdown or anything. It was just like, boom.
I was like, how am I going to do a countdown? I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw us in there.
Surprise the bastards.
Surprise. Surprise him. How's everyone doing?
All good. Yeah, you?
I'm good. Let's start with what we have been up to. Speak. Mac.
I have. For us. Well, apart from covering the news and waiting for 3.0, I've got a giveaway going for the next one. Finally getting around to giving the stuff to the people who won them on the birthday stream. That's still going on. I'm still trying to get them done. But other than that, doing videos where I can be bothered if there's anything of interest to talk about. And yeah, that's about it, to be honest. Not much else.
Taurus.
Yeah, just streaming. Tried Call of Duty World War II. That was hot trash.
Really?
So, yeah, I played it for maybe 20 minutes, and I was like, oh. Like this is the thing is I liked Advanced Warfare. A lot of people didn't like that, but I liked it. But it was World War II is just like Advanced Warfare, just with older, shittier guns, and so it was like, yeah, it doesn't really work. Other than that, I've just been. What's that?
No, go ahead.
I said I've just been working on some of my org stuff, getting that all ready for whenever 3.0 drops to PTU and stuff, so we can start organizing things and doing a couple giveaways with that and everything.
Very nice. I saw, and falling back on that World War II stuff, I saw Tim the Tapman play it, and he just all that for it. He was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to play
Dude,
PUBG.
the enter key, every time, because there'd be like prompts on screen to, continue, hit enter. So you hit enter, and I swear to God, I wasn't touching any other keys or anything. Every time you hit enter, it would put you into windowed or full screen. So I'd hit enter, and then I'd go into windowed mode. I'd hit enter again, and it would go into full screen. It was just, yeah. I mean, that's part of the early access, maybe part of it. That's fine, but the way the game played was just a little disappointing.
I actually tried. I downloaded it just for the sake of giving it a go. I haven't played since Modern Warfare 2 because I just felt it, and that was on a console anyway. So yeah. I downloaded it, launched it, and it was playing on my other screen, on my other monitor. And I looked into how to transport it across. You got to go into code, try and switch your monitor code over, and I couldn't do it. So I was just like, "Fuck it, it's not worth it. It's really not worth the effort. Yeah. I can't be asked." No, not good.
It's what Sora says. It's development. Hopefully they'll get that sort of stuff sorted, and the concept is great. I think I think the modern FPSs in those settings could be really cool.
Yeah, I don't think that the gameplay style suits the style of the game that they're going after.
No,
it needs to be played a lot slower and not like as a Twitch shooter. But it's Call of Duty, so it's going to be a Twitch shooter. So.
Yeah, it's more for esports now. It's gone more just for tournaments. That's their main focus, I think, is just tournament play.
In a lot of games, lately the focus, and you can't blame them. It's a big source of money for them as well. I think we discussed it on Brisbane last year, where we said, okay, and I think you were there as well, Ryan. You were in the how do you call it? In the group of people on stage. And where we
panel.
Esports in the panel, yeah, Esports for Star Citizen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but I don't know. It's an MMO, I think they have part of it,
I mean, they will. I think it was, instead of the game being esports, it's going to be sections of the game, isn't it? Like you'll have racing, fucking Star Marine, AC, and also eventually that SATA board. If they're still doing that, I assume they are. but yeah, there's going to be a lot more.
At the very least, right?
Yeah, something.
There might be
that.
other game modes that come in.
Capture the address.
Let me know, guys, if the voice, my voice is better at the moment. By the way, I did some changes to the voice settings. So if you guys can't hear me, let me know. On that note, Mighty, what have you been up to?
Streaming this and that now. Yeah. I actually spent last week. I jumped into a little bit of Elite Dangerous, which I haven't touched for quite some time, and realized that I was pretty much I rage deleted my previous saves. I was like, right at the beginning again. I was like, oh my god, seriously, what a great move to make, Mighty. Let's stream this week, guys, and I'm right at the beginning. And someone in chat said, why don't you do this mission? That I'd never heard of before. Some ancient ruins, the Guardian's ancient ruins or something. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. People apparently have done it in 5 to 7 hours. So we set off and did it. And I just finished it today. It's like a full week's worth of like 6-hour streams, and it took me all this time to do it. But I earned like over 1 million credits or something like that doing it. So it was a lot of fun.
Very good fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just something a bit different, still was in the space sim genre. So it was a lot of fun to just hang out and just experience like that community. So it was interesting. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of giggles.
Bridge the gap to 3.0 like all of us are doing at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of like speculation and like, oh, what if they Star Citizen had this feature? What if they did this and that? But it was cool. It was really interesting. So,
what's the community like for ED?
It's just like Star Citizen. They're really, really welcoming, really, really friendly, really, really, really helpful. If like you're coming up to something and it's like, shit, what do I do here? And everyone has an answer. Everyone has an opinion. And it's not like a. Everyone seems to be very, very adult about it. So I didn't have any problems, which was really nice. Yeah, I didn't have to bring out the ban hammer or anything like that. So it was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. So now that I've earned all these credits, tomorrow I'll probably jump back in and spend it all.
As you do. Ryan, did you mean community as in the Twitch community, or did you mean community as in
both
in-game people?
I kind of meant just the people who support the game. Okay. I didn't really relevantly mean Twitch or either, but yeah, it's.
I tried a bit of ED, and I find it a lot harder to find people to play with than, for example. But it's because I'm in the community of Star Citizen, I think, But it seems a lot harder to run across people or find groups to play with, unless it's your closer friends. I would say, But
I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm trying to get all the org stuff all organized, for lack of a better term, right now for 3.0, because it's like there is no real way. Like, yeah, we have Spectrum and stuff now, but there is no real way to sort of reach out to everybody unless they, unless they're in my stream or whatever. And you cannot always rely on that. So I think it's important to have some sort of community that you can build up, whether it be Spectrum or Discord or something else, where you can say, hey, look, let's get some people on, or let's try and organize that.
Exactly. It's something that I was thinking about the other day, Source. Do you feel that Spectrum is ready for 3.0? Do you feel that Spectrum in the state it is now is sufficient enough for 3.0?
Well, I mean, Spectrum's ahead of Star Citizen. It's not whether Spectrum's ready for 3.0. Is 3.0 ready for Spectrum? And I don't think so. I think that some of the most important things, like voice, need to be implemented before people are going to start taking it seriously. It needs to be usable from inside Star Citizen before people start taking it more seriously. And those things just don't exist at the moment. And that's not because Spectrum can't do it. It's because Star Citizen can't do it.
The implementation both together, I think, is what it's lacking at the moment. It's.
I mean, VoIP itself will be a game changer in the sense that you'll be able to speak to everyone on the server, not just your own friends.
Like the biggest thing right now is, and what frustrates me the most is not even in the persistent universe, but say jumping into Arena Commander or more appropriately Star Marine. When I jump into Star Marine, I have no way to. I get that people are new to the game and stuff, but I have no way to help them or guide them.
No, it's just silence.
And text chat, well, text chat's even closed on default.
Yeah.
So unless you know how to press F12 and then press enter to start typing things, then people don't do that. And it's just like, nobody does that, right? So I could spam my Discord in there all day, but it's not going to matter if you can't read it.
No, that's
so
true.
At the very least, I hope that they make those text channels open, and then we can be like, hey, look, everybody on the team, come into Discord, even if you can only listen. Or even if they can't even come into Discord, you're able to type to them and they're able to read it.
Yeah.
But right now, that's the big thing.
It's the big thing we miss. I mentioned it a couple of podcasts back as well. You have a game mode like, and I don't want to compare it, but let's say Counter-Strike, where teamwork is pretty damn important, you know. And I think in a game mode as where you have to capture the laptops, you know, it's just important that you have voice. It's basically like a black and white movie without any voice that you're watching, and you're like, okay, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to say something. Someone, I'm going B. I want to hear someone say, I'm going C. Let's team up together. Let's go with 3 of us. There's a guy on the left. There's a guy on the right. We can't do that at the moment. That's a shame, because that will take the whole.
Yeah. So unless you have multiple groups of 4, basically, and there are some groups that do this, but multiple groups of 4 that try to get in together and are already, you know, pre-made on Discord. The problem is getting those people in the first place, right? It's easy to jump into a game and then, you know, you're in with people, but trying to organize that beforehand is difficult. So that's sort of why I've gone the route that I've gone with, you know, building up my organization Discord primarily for that.
Definitely, it's good that, and I think you're doing it as well, Ryan. Especially the time where we're going into now, where we can basically smell 3.0. You know what I mean? We can basically, and from far away or from close, we don't know, but we're so close to it, and I think this is where communities are going to be really important, you know, and where we're really
definitely,
really,
I mean, it's
really going to
the
matter.
community's been important for a while, hasn't it? It's been the keyhole of Star Citizen, but like Saurus is saying, just being able to actually communicate in an organized manner and arrange things and let people know what's going on, so they can let you know what's going on. It's so important. And yeah, I've just started my org today. It's very basic, so I'll have to look more into that. But I think until we start, because a lot of people's orgs are third-party websites. What is yours primarily Spectrum, Saurus? Have you gone for a website?
So no, I don't have an external website. We just have Spectrum and then the RSI site, mostly because and Discord, obviously. And the reason is because I imagine most of the functionality that we're going to need is going to eventually be built into those platforms. They're not there now, and that's why it's been so difficult. Like trying to, like for me, for example, my organization is close to 1,000 members. And I'm looking to tell everybody about our Discord because our Discord's relatively new, but there's no way for me to mass message everybody. And even if I go through and individually message people, which you were able to do before, you can't do now. But if you were to go through and individually message people, they only get it if they log into the site, right? And there's a lot of people who only check in during patches or whatever. So there's no way of me contacting people and saying, hey, there's a Discord. And we're also giving away a cutlass and some dragonflies and stuff. So come on and you know, start making it active. Get ready for 3.0. There's no way for me to do that. And now even now going in and trying to individually message them. I was going to do that the other day. Go through all like 900 members and just individually message each person. That functionality is no longer there because the forums are gone and everything, right? So there's no way to do it, and there's no way to find them through Spectrum.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in that weird spot where it's like, okay, well, I have no way to contact my org. And the biggest part about an organization, the big part about a lot of things is communication. And I mean, if we don't have that, then it sort of makes things a lot more difficult. Most
definitely. Luckily, we have ways to go around it with Discord and with our own websites, etc. But I hope they're going to put it in soon, because then you can reach a type of audience, let's call it that way, that you can't reach at the moment, which may be great members for your organization or for your.
Well, like I said, I hope that we just start to get more tools on the admin side of things, so I can send out a mass message to everybody, so I can get a hold of everyone and let them know about things going on in the org, because right now, if I want to go and play Star Marine or whatever with people in the org, I just have to hope they're in the stream. And otherwise,
and sometimes
it's like
there's no one there at all. You play some fucking Star Marine and no one is in, and you're just running around on your own.
And then what Sora said earlier, getting them in Discord is the second thing. If they're in the stream, it's easier, but when they're not, it's a hell at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Spectrum will bring a lot of org management stuff in, but at the moment, I mean, they touched upon it quite a few months ago, maybe last year sometime, and we've not seen any more in terms of of what they're going to implement. But I'm sure they'll have an idea and they'll listen to what we want as organizers or whatever. I don't know. You will have some certain things you want to use and you'll need, and the more we sort of tell them, the more they're likely they'll implement those things for us as well, just to make it easy. And it'll be in-game implemented as well, so it's not just going to be Spectrum based.
Is everyone here? Does everyone here run their own organization, or are there people that aren't in administrative roles in orgs?
I only just am today.
No, I was going to look into doing it. I'm still thinking about it. So I've not really seen Spectrum from that kind of angle yet. So it's interesting to hear these comments, because obviously I've not seen the admin stuff side of it.
I think 2 years ago I created an org for the fun of it and did some graphics for it, etc. Then more recently, as most of the people know, I've been part of UINS, which I left a while back to go solo again. And I always said, and I said it to Madness as well, for me, I don't see a reason to be in an org right now, but I can see at this point in time where we are now that it is going to be more effective. So hopefully I'll join an org soon again. And what I think will happen with the coming of 3.0, it will make more clear to CIG as well that these implementations are needed. People are going to question CIG. Oh, how can we do this? How can we do that? And CIG will, by experiencing it, will see themselves as well. Probably, maybe they have a trick up their sleeve. We don't know. They could have something ready.
I'm sure the functionality is going to be put in. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that it will add a lot to the game. It'll be interesting. When you have things like general comms and things like that in Star Citizen, for sure, jump in any game that has open comms. But for at least like parties and friends and stuff like that, I think that it's important, and I think they understand how important that is. And I think that we'll see this functionality sort of come in. Like I said, I think Spectrum is ready to go and ready to work on that. They're just waiting on the Star Citizen side of things for them to implement it in.
Hopefully we'll get it soon. Moving on from that one, X1 guys, what do you think? What do you guys think?
I don't really care for it, to be honest. I'm not really big fan of the spikes, to be honest. I can take it or leave it. If someone give me one, I wouldn't say no. But I'm not really that.
I'd melt it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not really that bothered about it, to be honest. I've got my Dragonfly waiting left for me, so that'll do me. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have all Drake stuff, so I have 8 Dragonflies. I don't need an X1 or an Ox or anything.
I think the more we get space bites wise, the better racing will be. I like the idea of pod
racing.
I
think that's why they're doing it. I think that's why they're doing it, because they have the moon tracks and everything, and they want people to use them, and they want at least a little bit of variety in there.
I think it's good, diversity, and I'm not a racer at all. You guys know it. I'm a space trucker. I like to listen to country music while flying around, delivering I don't know what, but
slaves.
Or whatever. But space bike, I can see it though, and I see what Ryan says. If you have a pod race, you see all the same ones. And Sora said it as well. It's not good. If you have multiple ones, it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be the best one.
In terms of variety, it's a good idea. That being said, I would much rather see a variety of ground vehicles than quote unquote space bikes. Right? I'd rather see a bunch of different wheeled vehicles, track vehicles, even hover tanks
military
or whatever. Then, especially with how big that the moon side and planet side stuff is going to be, and how much space we have, and there's a lot of space in space. but there's a lot more diversity and things to actually look at on the ground, and there's going to be a lot of that to explore. So
they have, I think they have sort of since they did this procedural stuff, because that wasn't actually supposed to be a thing in the first place, and then when they decided to start looking into it, they didn't expect it to come around so fast. So now
months, right?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, by the way, we've got it working. It looks pretty cool. Here you go. And everyone's like, fuck me, what is this? So they have said, I think the latest round of concepts, not the latest round, but they say that they are working on a lot more ground vehicles. And I would like to see industrial ground vehicles for like cargo mining, that sort of thing. But also just things like a ground Starliner variant, like a bus. So you can travel from outpost to outpost or whatever. But whenever that comes along, God knows.
Ground taxi. Yeah,
I like to see something like, and I don't know if you know the words, an Oshkosh. You know what I mean, like a troop transport.
What?
You know, like a military troop transport or something.
What did you call it?
It's an Oshkosh. It's a type of vehicle that the American Army uses to.
Oshkosh.
Like, I think it would be cool to see like some sort of train system and stuff come in. But obviously, we don't need that right away.
Well, they said with I think on Levski you can see a monorail. I think they're going to attach certain parts of the mining facility to this monorail, so eventually you should be able to travel across. But yeah, like you said, let's just get fucking 3.0 out first.
Those things will come over time, I think. Let me change my microphone because people seem to
turn it up.
hearing me.
I think anything that adds the ability to get your friend in, like do multi-crew.
There we go.
It's going to add things with people, not just a bike where you can just sit on your own. I want to get my friend in there and a couple of other people, just like the rover.
Well, and that's sort of where the rover comes into play. And things exactly. Like that, right? But like I said, I'd like to see more of diversity with that. I understand why they're doing the bike thing. I think that's what they're sort of focusing on is the little racing stuff and everything. That's why you're seeing the Nox. That's why you're seeing the X1 after the popularity of the Dragonfly.
And the 3.0 will have racetracks. They're putting on race, and I think that's mainly just because they did say that the QA team wanted something to test and wanted to have fun, so they just quickly placed a racetrack down, and they've decided to leave it in, so we get to actually play with it, I guess. I've not seen this video. Where's this video? Is this Teller?
I'm going to be honest. This is Madness's work from Vietnam. He normally pulls his stuff from Reddit, so I think this is Reddit, and I think it's something. And I think Tyler Nolan mentioned it as well. It's two different models. One has a gun, and one doesn't have a gun.
The Racer doesn't because it's a racing module, but the other two, the Explorer and the base one does, I think.
Exactly. I think it looks cool. It's just not my taste. I said it before. It's like 600i-ish, which I think is a cool idea. It's something that I will probably try and get in game eventually, but not something that I would at the moment plunge money into. You see what I mean? It's No, it's the same for me as the
variety is nice. I don't think it's for me.
Oh, the more the better. The more the better. You don't want to. You rather see your ship twice during a run than 15 times. You know what I mean? Or when you're doing a race or something like that.
More variety is better for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Coming back on the race thing, and I think it was Ubernerd that mentioned it a while back as well, where he said like, first thing I'm gonna do is Dragonfly races on the moon, and it's good to see that CIG has played into such a thing and said, okay, let's do those things. Especially, it's going to keep people busy as well. Look at it from that perspective, while they are doing that 3.1 stuff or whatever is coming for us. People will always have things to do at the end of the day, and otherwise we'll find things to do. You know how it goes.
With 3.0, obviously we're getting far more missions in, and missions that will just be generated constantly to never play out the same. Although I'm sure they'll be quite repetitive in the feeling of them, because they're just 26 archetypes. But player-driven content is going to be what drives the game now and in the future as well. And certainly, like just anything you can do, planet-side racing, searching for derelicts, searching for outposts, responding to players eventually. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff. I've forgotten the fucking point I was trying to make now.
He just went off on a tangent so hard he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah. Listen, fuck it, take over.
On his streams, he does this for 4 hours, and he doesn't stop talking. And here he forgets it. One thing, by the way, guys, I'm very happy with the amount of facial hair that is on the podcast today. I'm very fucking happy. Yeah. Normally, I'm doing this podcast with babies.
The grown-ups are in. The grown-ups are in.
Here, you know, although mine is sort of reddish.
Fiery.
Sort of?
Fiery.
I think it's an understatement.
Lando's beard is fucking mental at the moment.
It's like Hagrid. It's like
he was like, I'm not going to shave it off until 3, and I bet he's regretting it now. He's like, he could hide in a bush and just be these eyes peeking through. It's freaky.
Another thing that I wanted to show you guys, the skins on the X1s. I think it's great, and we've seen it before. I do iRacing, and Ryan knows it. You know, I race a lot in iRacing. Each team has their own skin. I love to see these things. You know, I love these skin diversities. We've seen the sort of test squadron-like thing on the Auroras and the pirate ones and that sort of stuff. Do you guys think that we're going to see more diversity than what we got now, or do you guys think that it's something that is going to stay like this, or do you think they're going to implement more of these?
Oh, definitely more.
What's up with my fucking mic today?
Yeah, they're definitely gonna. It's just gonna grow, right?
Yeah, I mean, even when the game is out,
even after the game is launched, they're still going to.
There's, again, even with ships, not just skins, but ships, clothing, weapons, everything. It's. I was talking about this earlier on the stream, actually, that ships won't just stop. You know, they kind of constantly concept new ones and create new ones. Even 10 years down the line, when the game is finally finished, and same with planets, solar systems. They're going to create these things because they have the tools to do so, and they want to keep the game alive. So they're going to create DLC content that is free. They said it would be free. And so, yeah, they're going to keep pushing
it. And it fits into the game as well, doesn't it? Because, like, you know, a manufacturer could come out with a new model. So it's like, here's the new model. And they can create some kind of marketing material, you know, like they do, you know, on their website and like throw that into the game. And, you know,
we've already seen that, haven't we? With like is it the Aurora or the Hornet? We've seen the 20 like, I think my Aurora is the 2943 variant. Although it's going to change because they're updating them. But they are working on like the 2947, the 2950, and every so often they will introduce the latest model, and they'll do it like a proper car launch, where they show it off for a few weeks, and then you can buy one. It'll be expensive more, and then you know. Yeah. I'm sure they will make it as in lore and in fiction as possible, just to create that cool vibe.
I hope they keep it a community-driven thing where people can basically, maybe on a monthly basis or on a 3-monthly basis, do a contest. Say, okay, these are the ships that we're doing. Get your designers in there. Best design we're going to put in the game. You know, maybe something like that. That would be great. And you keep that flow going with the community, as we have seen over since 2012 up till now. You know what I mean? Get the people involved for those things. And what you then get is that developers or let's call it creative artists at CIG, they don't have to worry about it. The community is doing for them. The only thing that they have to do is put it in there at the end of the day, you know. And
it'll be a mixture. There'll be community content driven stuff, and they'll also have a lot of their own gear.
I think it'll be less. I mean, they're going to have their mods and stuff and all of that stuff. But I think that once the actual base mechanics are in, we're going to start to see an increase in terms of the amount of assets and things coming in. Whether that be things as simple as like ships or weapons or clothing or whatever, or planetary landing areas and things like that. Once they have all of that other stuff figured out, right? Because there's a lot of things we still don't know. How exploration is going to work, how piracy is going to work, how mining is going to work, how the reputation system works, how the reputation system works with organizations. Like, there's so much stuff that they still need to sort of hammer out. But I think that once all of those things are get hammered out more and more, then they're going to focus more on getting the artists and stuff like that in and working on that kind of stuff.
But also, as they are hammering things out, that'll bring up more reasons or needs for certain vehicles and certain equipment.
Right, exactly.
So it just breeds itself, doesn't it?
Definitely. Just for you guys as well, I had a cockpit view of the X1.
Yeah. Let's see its cock.
Yes. You can see it, Ryan.
Not its pits.
All right. Yeah, it looks
pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I think I've seen a picture of this.
It reminds me of an alien's head from something that I've seen recently, where they have that fin at the that big fin.
It looks like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah,
Kind of, yeah,
Sort
yeah.
of.
Oh, that's a manta ray. Like, it's got eyes as well. You can see the
Manta ray,
fucking
yes.
eye.
How do you
Now
guys,
all I see is the face.
That's it. Yeah.
how do you guys feel about the Nux compared to this one? How do you...
the exact same.
Exact same, right? I have the same feeling, and I don't know. I think it's sort of a style thing as well. You know, I think the 600i users will lean more towards the X1. I don't know what Nux users... Who is your typical Nux user, I would think? I don't know.
I mean, I think those are the two closest related ships or vehicles that we have in Star Citizen. They're so similar.
Yeah.
And I don't expect them to be any real differences between them. It's just literally how they visually look. I think in terms of their speed is probably going to be close to the same, if not exactly the same.
Yeah, they will make them as similar as possible because they don't want to have a lead over someone else for the sake of people who are buying it. Yeah.
Just color as well, I think, you know.
Yeah, exactly. The Nox is nice and crispy black, you know.
Exactly. I like darker colors. Although I own a Banu Merchantman, which is basically a floating caravan, you know what I mean, with all the gold on it and that sort of
Fancy artwork.
Fancy artwork, yeah. It's going to be cool, though.
Fucking Banu.
Exactly. But it's going to be a nice ship, man. I can't wait for that to come. Although I like it to be postponed, because then all the shit that they learned from the previous ships will be improved on the later ships. I'm not too fussed about, I need it tomorrow, you know. I rather wait, and I think all the things in the end will be their best works, because they've fallen on their face so many times that they'll do it better. Let's jump over, boys. Persistent universe content 3.1. I don't know where I'm at.
Oh my god, let's worry about 3.0 first.
Yeah.
3.0, yes,
Bring it on,
definitely.
3.2. Actually, I want Fed in 5.
Well, Madness brought it up a bit, and I'll put the link in chat for everyone. What we can expect in 3.1. I don't know exactly how true this website is.
Well, we've got.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not even going to click on that link.
You can look at the normals.
Could care less right now. I'm more concerned
exactly.
about what's going on in 3.0.
Definitely.
And let's get that out first.
Yeah.
And figure out what's all in 3.0, because we still don't even have a full list of that. And then once we have that in our hands, then we can.
I'm excited.
That's how I'd look at it anyways.
I'm excited. I like to look at the future, what is coming, you know. But I agree with you as well, Soros. You know, 3.0 is going to be something that is going to keep us busy for a long.
Well, we saw what happened like when 3.0 was getting developed. It's like the whole goals changed. You know, a lot of in the development schedule it changed, didn't it? Like stuff was moving.
Well, and that's the only constant within Star Citizen is that things change.
Yeah, exactly. So the goals are there now. It could once 3.0 is out, they'll probably all change. So
I mean, the biggest thing for 3.1, and the only thing that I care about in 3.1, to be completely honest, is the netcode was pushed out of 3.0 to 3.1. And to me, that's the most important thing, whether this game is going to become a game or if it's just going to flop on its face. Because in all reality, if their netcode isn't able to handle what they need for in terms of a player base, then the game doesn't exist. Squadron 42 will be a thing, and then that's about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. They need to get that netcode sorted, and I mean, obviously they are working on it, and the resources that are working on that are not distracted by 3.0 and all that. They are working on it now, but it's until we see solid evidence that it's actually going to happen, it's still
that's the only thing. Like they've managed to do everything else, right? They've managed to do these huge universes without loading screens. They've managed to bring in these moons and planets and stuff. We're going to see those come in. We've already seen those happen. But the big thing is going to be, you know, and that's really the last thing that this game hinges on. What other big thing can you think of that is important or
Banu Karak?
no, but those are just ships. Those are irrelevant, right?
Yeah, true.
The big thing that really matters is the netcode and the ability to support not only hundreds or thousands of players, but also being able to stream in all of that content to all of those individual players while maintaining a decent frame rate, while being able to send that quickly. You know,
well, without that netcode, a lot of the big ships, like capital ships, just won't function.
Well, without the netcode, the game will cease to be.
Yeah.
Well, when you think like if a certain ship requires 22 players to man it, if they can't get any more than 24 in, the whole game sort of collapses around it. But exactly. They need to get that netcode sorted. They say they have an idea.
Integrated into that is what Miss says. Still at this point in time, trying with 2 people to get into the same game.
Yeah, exactly. Grouping.
It's easier to bring a nice blonde home for me than to do that at the moment. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even go that far, to be honest.
But you know what I mean? It's bad. It's just bad, Mac. And for you guys as well. It's
also a cause of a lot of the problems that we're seeing in 2.6.3 and we're going to see in 3.0, right? 3.0 isn't going to be this Jesus patch that everybody thinks it's going to be, because we're still going to have the same, for the most part, a lot of the same frame rate issues, a lot of the same things, because that stuff really isn't in there. There's some minor things that they're doing to fix it. And we won't really know until we have our hands on it, but until like even with 3.0, right? It's going to be great to be able to explore all of this stuff, but things like, Star Marine or Arena Commander or any of those things, even on their own, can't even be taken seriously yet until that netcode's sort of finished and polished out.
Definitely. It's basically more content with the same issues, you know what I mean? From what we know now, basically, it's maybe even more issues with what they're going to put in. Let's be real, in an alpha stage of a game, when they're going to bring in more stuff, there's more stuff to break at the end of the day as well, that the evocaties maybe not filter out, that they maybe themselves not thought of, you know what I mean? But it's all I think it's all in all a good learning process. It's beautiful to be part of that.
We'll be here to break it for them. So.
Oh yeah, and we'll break it, and there comes a time where we've gone through most of the content, and then you get that stage again where we are now, where we're going to try and break stuff, where we're going to try and do the crazy stuff, you know what I mean? And hopefully we'll have a bit less time than we had now in between 2.6.3 and up and coming 3.0, but people are going to do the craziest things, and more than bringing Benny's machines over to Alazar, or whatever.
I'm hoping that once 3.0 is out, with it being the fundamental groundwork for Star Citizen, apart from the netcode, that we'll start seeing more things introduced at a quicker rate until it gets to sort of 4.0 when its jump points.
Okay, so I would like to see that as well. I also thought that was going to be starting to happen with 2.0, and then I also thought that was going to start happening with 2.6.3. Now, one of the benefits that 3.0 does have that those other patches don't have isn't actually in 3.0, and that is the Delta Patcher. The Delta Patcher is a very big deal for how quickly you're going to be able to not only download the patch, how much bandwidth that patch is going to take while downloading, but how small they can get those out for small fixes and small little updates and stuff like that. Depending on how well they leverage the Delta Patcher is dependent on how quickly they're able to deploy those patches out with little fixes or with small little updates, like, for example, the subscriber flare and stuff like that. Can they just put out a patch with the subscriber flare in it now? They should be able to. Or are they going to? We don't know, right? I would love to see them go to a weekly or bi-weekly update cycle, where even if there's nothing to update or they don't have any fixes for things, that they're doing some balancing changes or whatever, because we know that those are all things that they're going to need to have to test anyways.
Yeah, it won't be everything and anything, because obviously it costs them to push the launch, and it'll make it a lot cheaper for them. But
that being said, if they're able to shrink it down, there's no reason for them to hold on to ships for every major patch now.
Oh no,
they can just push it through.
Yeah. Right? So what we see in 3.1, 3.2 means nothing in terms of ships, content, and things. If it's ready by the time
hopefully
they come out,
what they do.
I hope so too. Yeah.
They'll probably gather some
instead
stuff
of us
together.
waiting for whatever, they can just pump it out and put it out.
They'll probably still grab stuff together, but will be a lot easier. You know, you save up a month or 2 months worth of stuff, and you push it out. You know, you don't have to do it every day or every week. You know, bi-weekly or monthly is I think more than enough. You know, and it will make their life so much easier. Much easier, you know.
I think we will see it as a schedule every fortnight or something, like, because by that time they'll have certain content to give out. They'll have updates and fixes and bug fixes and things. So they will probably schedule it rather than just do it as and when they feel like it.
That's all I'm saying. I'm wondering if we're going to see that. So for those of you who don't know what fortnight means, I believe it's bi-weekly, right? Every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So whether it be a weekly or a bi-weekly thing, you know, a lot of games do it on a Tuesday. They can choose the same day or a different day or whatever. Yeah. But it would be nice to have a schedule like that. And so we don't go this long ever again without like even little minor things that they could have been adding and changing. There's a lot of small things that they could have fixed, right? That in between then and now, and they've sort of all just rolled it into these one patches. So let's hope that this doesn't ever happen again now that the Delta patch is going to be released with 3.0.
Definitely.
Most definitely. Something that I was thinking about, Madness, as well. Banking in the verse. We haven't seen too crazy much about whole
banking.
Banking. So basically, money systems, money flows, economy, loans, pawning. You know what I mean? It's some crazy ideas I came up with the other day. I was like, what if I need money and I could pawn my spare weapons and I could buy them back for a certain price with interest? Or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be quite nice. There will be banks and things, and eventually they said something about transferring funds, but they want to make sure that you're not abusing this system.
Gold sellers will probably be the biggest issue they're tackling in that case.
We're getting persistence with 3.0 in terms of buying things and repairing things and upgrades and stuff like that. We still won't have the ability to buy ships in 3.0. I believe that's coming in 3.2. Or that's what they're aiming for anyways, and even then I imagine it's obviously not going to be all the ships. I mean, I think that they have an idea for what they want to do with some of those mechanics, but once again, there's so many things that they need to work on before to get to that point, like being able to buy ships, like being able to sell ships, figuring out how the ownership system works. With everything. Obviously, we're getting a very, very base version of that in 3.0 with the entity owner and then the legal ownership or whatever it's called. Or the physical ownership and the legal ownership of things. And that being persistent and that doing that. And then figuring out, okay, are they going to allow it so you can transfer credits or money freely between players, or is there going to be a cost to that? And if there is, you know, how do you mitigate gold sellers and things like that later on?
There's a lot that
isn't it really with a lot of MMOs is like you can like get these people that just want to go and farm everything and get like loads and loads of credits and then just like sell that crap on eBay or whatever else, and it's just like how can they keep a lid on, how can they keep a grip on this the economy, you know, because like Elite Dangerous and stuff like that, they don't allow you to transfer credits to other people. There are probably ways around doing it. I've not looked into it, so I won't go into that.
Well, there definitely will be in Star Citizen, if anything. Yeah, like with the stuff that they've talked about that they want to do, like renting out your ships or doing missions for other players, things like that. Like, there's nothing to stop me from this is how they've explained it anyways, from me eventually putting a bounty on SupermacbrothersRyan, he being in on it and knowing about it, and it being really easy, right? But making it like 20 million credits and having the person beside him ready to kill him right away. And then it's just transferring money that way. Yeah. So there's things that they're going to have to figure out for that. It's the same thing with the insurance stuff, right? We know what they want to do for insurance. There's a ton of ways to get around that. So how are they going to get around things like insurance fraud and stuff like that, which will be a very real thing in the game, especially with those larger ships?
Is they'll start off with the basic economy, and they'll what they'll do is they'll watch what we do. They'll have their own ideas of how to stop people from doing certain exploitations, but then obviously the more that they see us doing, the more that we'll sort of guide them in what they need to do to help stop it as well. So they will watch what we do when the economy first branches into insurance. Well, even though 3.0 brings the first part of the economy as well. or persistent economy. So it's just a matter of finding what the problems could be and then fixing them. But as always, it's like anything. It's like hacking. People will be able to figure a way around it, but then when they figure out how they've done it, they will then stop that until they figure out something else. There's always going to be that issue, but they're going to implement things in ways, and there's always new ways and means to stop this sort of thing from happening, but it will take people to exploit it first to really hone down on it before it becomes less of an issue.
Delta patcher in as soon as possible.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just in case there's something you've exploited, they can quickly throw in a patch to fix it and crack on.
Exactly. I don't have, and this is something that ties in a bit with the gold selling. I don't have too many issues with people, and if they're true and doing it in a proper way, selling their accounts on eBay. There might be someone bought grand worth of chips. Yeah, he became ill. He needs.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it is against the TOS to do that.
It is. But you can see someone. Oh, I don't feel Star Citizen anymore. I'll sell it to a friend or to someone else or whatever. You know, I can understand that, although it is against the TOS. You know what I mean? But I have more issues with gold selling because that's just people trying to make money over the backs of CIG. Over the backs of us players, I think, as well. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. I can see it from both sides. I can see it. It still takes time from on their behalf, right?
True.
And my time's worth money. So, what if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. It's a digital good, just like anything else. It's created by within the game or something like that. But I can definitely see it from both sides. That if I have to put in the time to do it, or if I have to put in my intelligence to do it, or whatever, that maybe to find an exploit or something that gets all this UEC. I understand where that comes from. I don't necessarily know. Like, that's something that can really affect an economy. That's another thing that CIG sort of has going for them as well, because there's so many NPCs and they're able to go in and adjust the economy without us really knowing. If something like that does happen,
they'll probably create money.
Hopefully not, but
So
I don't agree with the exploitation. I think that if it's damaging the game, like it's like piracy of DVDs and things, that actually affects the industry as a whole because it's taking away from the profit. Now, if people are exploiting the game themselves, that's taking away from the profit that we've put in to create the game. So, in my opinion, it is kind of taking away from what we've tried to invest. Now, yeah, it does take real time and effort, and like you say, everyone's time is worth whatever you put on it. But I don't agree with people exploiting things for their gain if it's going to affect the production.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about exploiting so much as just selling gold.
No.
Whether however they earn it is however they earn it. But,
I think it's more from my perspective, Saurus. I got more satisfaction out of making it myself than buying it at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So
100%. I mean, the same can be said for people who cheat in games. Like, I have no idea why anybody would want to do that, right? But there's people out there that do. I don't know why. I think that is more harmful than anything else.
Oh, definitely.
I would rather have a gold seller issue than a cheating issue.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree with you. You know, the cheating issue is a much bigger issue. You know, it's even because it affects the other players normally as well. I think the gold selling, as you said earlier, affects other players less than cheating. I think at the end of the day, much less.
Yeah, that's when you need something like a bounty system.
Well, I mean, the other thing too, you have to remember is CIG will be gold sellers.
They are at the moment, basically.
Well, they're going to be. We know that that's not changing. They're going to be selling UEC. The entire time. So, yeah, I mean, they're themselves, and that's one of the things that they can do to curb other gold sellers, right? Is by making that base price. So if it's not worth the amount of time invested to make that gold and to sell it, if the profits aren't high enough, then it will be mitigated. That doesn't mean it'll there are some countries where that money is still more than what they would make doing something else. So it still will be a thing, but I don't think it'll be such a widespread, rampant thing as what you would see in maybe something like what World of Warcraft had.
Exactly.
I think they did mention as well that they'll put a tax or some sort of like with PayPal. If you give someone money on PayPal, you have to the money goes for the service. So maybe transferring UEC from one account to the next will have a certain tax that comes with it. That will
transaction fee or something.
Yes,
yeah, and that's what I was sort of thinking.
they'll find a money dump at the end of the day anyway, like in most games. You know, like I play Final Fantasy, and buying a house is a money dump. That's why you dump most of your cash in. They will do a similar thing with
fuel,
with Star Citizen,
ammunition,
exactly.
you know, paying to go through jump points, like you name it. There's going to be all kinds of different gold sinks for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. It's going to be interesting though. The pawning thing is something that I really want to see. Something that Madness put in. Is 2.5 million in pledges a month enough for Star Citizen? It's Madness salty corner basically saying, okay, CIG spread over. So what someone did, I think it was a Spectrum post. Someone on Spectrum counted all the cash that CIG collected over the last.
But that's only what's visible.
What's
they
visible
have
without private investors, etc.
Yeah.
But I think 2.5 million, and for a normal company or for a normal games developer, a month income is a lot of damn cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even think they need that. I don't even think they need any more come in, to be honest. It wouldn't speed the process up, but I still think they would be able to finish it with the amount of money that they've.
Yeah, the money, the monetary income isn't the problem. It's the finding the actual people,
the talent.
They're advertising for so many jobs, and it's just people that aren't applying, or maybe they are applying, they're not good enough, whatever. It's not the money that's a problem. It's the actual talent that they need to find. That's the issue at the moment.
They put the bar high though, Ryan. You know what I mean?
No, good. I agree with that. They need to have. If they bring someone else who isn't up to standard, then it's like the weakest link. It's not going to be good enough. Yeah. I agree that they need
that. That bar kind of gets in the way of releasing a patch, though. Do you think sometimes, like, it's an alpha? Can we just like release it and it's?
I think that's Chris. That's just Chris with his perfectionism, and I think I agree with what he says. Yes, they should have released it maybe earlier, but the problem is they say they'll always redo something. They've kind of always do that.
They've dug themselves into a hole with these patches because, you know, me going into this initially, I was thinking we were going to get things that didn't have animations. You know, you're going to be moving around
very raw.
That's what you expect,
just very raw. They didn't even have things like textures or whatever.
Yeah.
But then as time goes on, the releases have been more and more polished, right? They haven't been perfect, obviously, as we can see. It's still not perfect. But they have been more and more polished, and it seems like they treat every patch release as a game release almost. And I understand why they do it. I wish they didn't. But at the same time, it's not the same people that are doing the artwork, that are doing the animation, that are doing the code behind it all and things like that. So, you know, it's kind of hard to say, but it would be nice to see some of these things that get implemented. That like for ships, for example, you know, they used to bring them into the hangar. As a perfect example, even though they were fully polished and they fully had their animations and stuff, but they used to bring them in before they were flight ready.
Yeah.
Now that pipeline is quick enough that they say, okay, we can just bring them right in. But it would be nice for them to just have in if they have the model in the holo viewer, I would like to see that to be able to walk around it in my hangar.
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped doing
without the textures and stuff. Even without the textures and whatever, I don't think that'll ever happen. I think it's too far gone now. But
I think most of us are from the time when we only had our hangar. I don't know. Most of you probably remember that. What was the joy that you had when you could walk around that ship, open the doors, sit in the cockpit? You couldn't do fuck all with it, but it was just good to see that, and it gave you. For me, it kept me connected to the game because I would log in every day and have to walk around in the hangar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's when I started streaming. We would just look at the different ships in the hangar and look at the fish tank and stuff and just, you know, theorycraft and talk about Star Citizen.
That's and that's I think, and it's a good thing that you point on that, Source. Theorycrafting is such a big thing for us as a community at the moment, and.
Well, it's all we have.
But I mean, not everybody goes for it. Obviously, not everybody likes it because they would rather just get the facts. But we love it's part and parcel of it.
Even then, I tend to sort of shy away from that now as much as possible. And
we get burnt for theory
my answers and things, but it's like, you know, now that we're getting closer and closer to the game, I like to less and less theory craft about things and more have, okay, this is what they said they're doing,
Yeah,
or
actual
this is what
information.
they've actually shown, or whatever.
Yeah.
We're slowly getting there, you know. And
Yeah.
the Delta Patcher will be the biggest part of that. The Delta Patcher is going to flick that switch to what you say.
Well, let's hope, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
you know, with
Hopefully.
2.0, I thought that. With 2.6.3, I thought that. You know, I'm hoping that we're going to see more updates on a more regular basis, and we're going to be able to. They're going to be able to put out those things, even if it's just to the PTU, right? They may be things that never come over to live, but they can make all those changes to PTU, and then when there's been enough changes to PTU, then they can put out one patch to live.
Yeah, exactly. I really hope they take advantage of the Delta patch. Like you said, Soros, like with the PTU, just have like this branch that they keep adding to. Like, there's the next patch, there's the next patch. Check it out, and then like if it gets to a point where they think it's stable enough, main branch or whatever. But
throw it out.
I hope they really do hope they take advantage of that.
So some games have a constant PTU running. That would be. And
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's
there's
what I
always a test server or a
dev build
PTR or
yeah.
PTU or whatever they want to call it, and then they have their live, and you can go and check the experimental branch. You know, they even have that functionality in Steam because so many games have that, where you go and you can play on the experimental branch, and then they just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it, and when they think it's big enough to make into its own patch, they ship it out as a patch to live.
Again, that will be something that would, if at all, would come with the Delta patch because the patches aren't going to run for a year. If they still had PTU now, it wouldn't be any point because it's still going to be the same patch.
Yeah.
Right, where now they can, instead of opening and closing PTU, they can just keep PTU open. And there will be people who will just exclusively play in PTU.
Yeah, and just test
also
the newest features, the non-polished features.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they can do a lot of like daily or weekly balancing and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even after the game is out as well.
Oh,
Keep that in
definitely,
mind,
yeah.
because they're going to need somewhere to test a lot of that stuff. And that's where they're going to have to do that after the game is out.
Talking about Theorycrafting again, though, a lot of it is what we talk about actually comes from the developers saying and specifying certain things. Like Chris Roberts will Theorycraft himself, and I think what tends to happen is he says something, but then it changes over time, and we take that. Like a lot of information I talk about actually comes from fucking years ago, which has changed over the course. But until we get an updated idea of what that direction that's going in, we can only go on what we've been told.
I think that's almost like because there's so much things that they talked about and we're like, oh, that would be cool, or oh, that would be... like I remember 10 for the chairman where he just would never say no. Instead of just saying no, he's like, oh, that's a really cool idea, we'll look into it. It's like, no, just fucking say no. Just say, listen, that idea is too convoluted and retarded, and it's not going to happen.
But
right?
Soros,
That's what they should have done, but they didn't do that. And so now there's all of this stuff that's up in the air. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? With these things that have changed, and you know, some things are related to others, so you can kind of extrapolate from the information that we have, saying, okay, well, this is something that's happening or isn't happening, so therefore this is most likely going to or not going to happen. But there's a lot of things still that are up in the air that are like, okay, what's going on with that, right? Mag boots are gone forever. Those aren't ever coming back, right? They're just, it's too difficult to do. Breaching a ship, I think that's happening only through doorways now and things like that, right?
Yeah,
docking collars, docking collars are kind of a thing, but no longer really a thing, right? They're going to be a thing for when you're parked and stopped, but for moving ships and attaching ships together and flying together, that's not going to be a thing. You know, there's a ton of things that we could sit here and talk about that.
Yeah, there are a lot of limitations
before, and it's just like, you know, because things change, it's almost pointless to even look at that information.
I think it's Chris himself as well, Soros. You know what I mean?
It's definitely Chris.
For sure. That's what I'm saying. You know,
it's 100% Chris.
Didn't say no to
I think
things.
they have people at CIG that they hired someone to tell Chris on a 10-minute basis to calm down.
Yeah, his name's Aaron.
And stop his ideas. You know what I mean? But it's great to see the passion that he has for it. But you want to draw a line at some point. You know.
Yeah, he wants to get everything and everything we want. Like ice creams when we first like it, ice cream flair. Yeah, have it.
Everything.
He would get everything. But
I think the fact is he's sort of saying a lot of the things he's saying is it would be great to do it if the tech became available. Like this whole black eye thing about characters. He says they want to do it, they're looking into, or they will look into it. But if the tech doesn't allow it and it doesn't look good enough or isn't optimized enough, they'll just cut it. Now that's different to saying yes. Whether or not he had in his mind an actual code that would work for it, the game changes things. The way that the back end changes. So certain things will maybe even 20 years time work. The way that tech's going, things like docking collars may work eventually in 5 years time. But at the moment, there's no way they can do it. But then who knows in the future when? But the problem is, it's building this hype that if he says so, you're kind of like, okay, it's golden. It's going to happen.
No,
but it's not always the case. Yeah,
it should be like, yeah, it is possible, but is it?
I think that state of mind would work a lot better, Mighty, though, when the game eventually is released or there is more to it. You know what I mean? Because then you have people playing, not noticing what's going on, and Chris can have 20 ideas, and he could be working on them, but people are too busy playing the game anyway, and they see those things only as add-ons or as pluses, you know what I mean? But now, in the development, if you keep adding stuff in, you need to draw a line somewhere. It's what I said a while back as well. You need to at some point say, okay, this is the basis that we're going to work from. Because if you add in something again, it's going to create 20 bugs, 40 blockers.
Well, it's also the point of diminishing returns.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? Like, at what point is it important that you have, things like these systems that affect other things? And, if it's not even going to be noticed one way or another, then is it worth putting in?
I had that with the moving of the mouth and the face. How was it called? The void thing. I was like, listen, I'll be sitting at home picking my nose. Will you see that? I'm not interested in a camera that registers me constantly. If I do this with my eyes or think, oh my fucking.
It is a niche. It's definitely a specific niche of people that will
deactivate. Yeah, it's the first thing I would deactivate. I don't feel the need for that sort of stuff. The voice, perfect, but the whole expression thing, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, the big thing for me, and I've said this on my podcast, Redacted. Where you like for the FOIP thing, they say you're going to be able to mute it and stuff, and that's all well and good. And especially if another company is the one working on it and stuff, cool, whatever. It's not taking away development time. But for the mouth, especially, instead of trying to track it with a camera, you can do what animation studios do: just animate the mouth based on the audio that's coming from the player,
like GTA does.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about if people are wearing a VR headset or if a big microphone's in the way of their mouth or whatever. And not only that, you can reduce the amount of tracking points that the FOIP is actually using.
Yeah, true. That's a good idea.
Definitely. For the people, and most of you probably know Saurus, definitely go check his stream out. We have a command for that one. Definitely check the Redacted podcast out as well on the Wednesday, still 7 o'clock p.m. BST, if I'm correct.
I don't know. It's 11 a.m.
Yes. You started at 1 today, right? For us.
It's about 7 o'clock for us,
Around 7 o'clock for us.
It's almost
definitely
3 o'clock.
Go check this guy out. You have the Bold Act formed one. You have Twerk, who's always salty, and then you have Saurus, who sits in between, trying to calm the mess down. Great podcast. Definitely check it out. The subscribers town hall. I think it was a good one this last week's one. I think it was. I
missed it.
I liked how they were using 1800s technology and we were getting 5 frames per second.
It was like a black and white.
Yeah, missed it. That was like a fucking strobe light was going off.
Was it you that did it, Saurus?
I had like the old video card, like the cards and stuff, where it was like amazing and like fidelity and 3.0 and next question.
It was good to watch. And I think something they touched upon there is something that and we've discussed it on the podcast a lot of times as well. The use of external devices, it's going to be such an important thing. I don't want to compare it too much, but for example, I do iRacing, which is a simulation to the max for the racing. You can use your phone for your car telemetry. You can use your phone to show your clutching, your revs, your RPM.
You can use it as your dashboard, essentially, right?
Yeah, you can use it as your dashboard if you wanna do that. which I hope we're going to see eventually in Star Citizen as well.
Well, with what they've been talking about with their APIs and everything, I imagine that's going to be possible, especially with the amount of information that's going to need to be shared in between Star Citizen and Spectrum, let alone, excuse me, let alone between anything else. I think that it's something that they definitely want to do.
Definitely. Then you make voice attack and the use of voice attack a lot easier as well, you know. Better than I think the functionality is now. With my accent, which is the Dutch half farmer accent living in the UK, try to tell voice attack to put your landing gear up. Is a job and a half, you know what I mean? Yeah. And to go and sit here and train Windows 10 for fucking 5 hours, I don't freaking think so, you know what I mean? So I hope that we're going to see more of those things brought in, and hopefully closer. And I think they touched upon it anyway. The voice attack guy or the voice packs one at least.
Nubifier.
No, what's the dude's name? What's the brand that does the voice packs themselves?
HCS,
yeah. And I hope that they got that stuff going, because that's cool stuff. You know what I mean? Who doesn't want Brian Blessed to tell him about his ship? You know?
I feel the need. That was classic.
Which is just cool. You know what I mean? And I love that. The female characters. We need fucking female characters, guys. You know.
Yeah, they're still working on the
women that play this game that played as a male character, which is fine. But I think we can attract a lot more female gamers if we have these.
You really want
characters.
to, don't you, so?
Well, I play Final Fantasy.
Well, this is what I don't understand. Why they didn't just do what every other game does until they have the actual female rig ready. Right? Which is what they do is they just shrink everything down. Just for the time being. If things clip through, things clip through.
Yeah.
You know, it's too late now. Like they're getting very, very close to it. But from the very initial beginning, why they just didn't do that and just use the same animations and stuff, there would be less people worried about, oh, my female walks like a man, as opposed to, oh, the female's not in.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
I know what they...
It wouldn't matter to us that much. It's an alpha, we know. We click through the freaking, like...
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the actual content of the game. Like, I would rather just have it in half-ass, and then you can update it later on, right? We're doing that anyways. Look at the amount of ships that have come in and gotten full reworks and have essentially been brand new ships when they come back in. You know, look at the Hornet, like every ship right now. You know, that's not.
But I guess they're trying to save. They're trying to save their time, aren't they, and their resources. So what they said they're doing is they're creating the male to 100% first, and then it's an easier change.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if they have just made the female a clone of the male with a female model.
Oh yeah, instead of waiting until they could get it fixed,
there would have been no additional work. Right, or the additional work, it would have been so minimal that it would be almost irrelevant.
And then we get females running around with male voices when the VoIP fucking kicks in.
Right, and then when they have the actual female rig in, then they can be like, oh hey guys, by the way, the new female rig's in, and the female's going to look a lot better. So, bam, there you go, and then everybody's like, oh great, instead of complaining. And that's just one thing when it comes to those kind of things. I would like to see an earlier version of it.
For me, Soros, it's like we're 5 years, let's say four and a bit years in development now. You know what I mean? Even almost 5, I think.
5. Yeah.
You miss 5 years of maybe pulling an extra. And I don't want to talk percentages, but maybe pulling an extra 50 to 25% extra people into your game and making money.
Who knows?
On it. Yeah. And tailoring it for both sides and
I definitely don't think it's that high. I would maybe grasping at straws, you'd be looking at 5-10%. But that being said, you know, it's still more people in there, right? And not only that, and this applies to more than just the female character. This applies to all of the ships that we have in Holoviewer, but we don't have in the game. You know, that we can't even, you know, get an idea of scale of these ships until they're in game.
I am surprised they stopped putting ships into the hangar. I thought that if they'd kept doing that, would keep the people who have paid for ships waiting years for them at bay. They would have felt a lot more comfortable. But also now you find a lot of the ships anyway are too big for the hangars. Like the biggest was the Starfarer. So I guess if they were just to constantly increase the size of the hangar.
Well, I think the hangars are getting another rework, right?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think so. Like how else are they going to fit some of these ships in there?
Well,
are they gonna,
what
the
they've
room
said,
system that they had worked on got shelved for who knows how long.
Yeah, where is that?
Like, I can guarantee you right now that the hangars are getting reworked. I can guarantee.
What they've said with the hangars, though, they specified that the Starfarer would be the biggest. But what's going to happen with bigger ships is you would be able to request a transit vehicle to take you from your hangar to an orbital docking area where the bigger ships will be docked. If you request it,
the hangars that are on planet side. But if you have an asteroid hangar, then they need to create that on the outside of the asteroid.
Yeah, true, and that'll kind of
right. And then you have also
game.
The room system that they talked about, and all the flexibility and expandability of everything as well. Right, that was originally supposed to come in, and then they sort of put that to the side while they worked on other things, and that's fine. But don't think that those things aren't going to be looked at again when they get to them, because they definitely will be
as well. You know, I'm a big. I wouldn't play an MMO if the housing system, and it might sound a bit Sims 4-y, I don't care. I wouldn't play an MMO if the housing system is shit. You know, I love housing systems. I love places where I can socially hang out with my orc, with my mates, and as much as I would love the rest of the game.
Oh yeah, multi-crew not multi-crew hangars, but multiplayer hangars. That was something that got
the second most important thing to an MMO after its netcode is individuality and customization.
Exactly. Yeah.
So whether that comes down to your player character, whether that comes down to your ship or the places where you live,
well, it'll be everywhere, won't it? It'll be everything.
All of those things are things that are very important to an MMO to make people feel unique in a world of superheroes. Right?
Yeah. I honestly think the way Star Citizen are going with their character customization, you will be able to not just by clothing, but identify players by face. Which is something I don't think we've ever really seen in a game, is the actual identity of a face, unless it's been stupidly warped to look odd. I think we're going to be able to get recognize people's faces, and
well, I think you'd recognize them even more if they were someone who looked weird.
Yeah, but we don't. I know they said they're not going to put that in because they don't want people to explain like stupid body size things. Yeah.
Life will find a way.
Someone who's got a deformed face when he uses FOIP.
EA has done it in a certain way where you could load in your face into their sculptor, and you could load it into FIFA and into NBA and into Madden, I remember, and that's I think that's cool to do as well. But then you have the other side of the medallion of people that want their character not to look like them, that want to play like someone else, or that want to maybe as a male play as a female, as we've seen in the trailer itself, or the other way around, you know what I mean? But for me, playing MMO is a representation of myself, you know what I mean?
I do that, yeah. I don't
and that makes
act
me
as
really
someone else.
feel
I
into
make
the game. That's why I never play female characters in any MMOs. That's why I hate, for example, in Black Desert, where you have certain classes that can only be played by female.
Only play a female for the free gold.
Yeah.
It's a reason, but no, I don't know. It really takes the joy for me away in a game. So it's, you know, where
yeah. No, definitely. Like my main character has always been reflection of me more so. I'm less into like the role play aspects of games. And more about just playing to the actual mechanics of the game. But that being said, there has been times where in WoW, you know, I roll a character named Vanessa and run around in, you know, underwear.
Hello. All right, mate. I know Madness has said he wants to play a female character.
Can you see Madness going in there? Hello, my name is Madness. If you give me 5 gold, I'll show you my penis. I could see him do that. You know what I mean? He's crazy. But
he already does it.
He already does it. Yeah. Well, I think you want to keep that option open for people that want to do that. You know, it's if we're putting so many stuff in already, let's put those things in as well. You know, if someone wants to play a female, you can play a female. You know, if someone wants, I have a bit more issues with the whole warp faces thing, Source. For example, Black Desert is a good example. I saw someone that had painted his carriage pink. you know, and his wheels were blue like a fucking Subaru. I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, I like there to be a certain line of how far you can go in those sort of things.
But at the end of the day, other players don't give a fuck what you think. So
that's true. That's true.
And while you may think that that's not cool, other people do, and you can't limit what other people are able to do based on what one portion of the opportunity or one portion of the player base wants to do. You know what I mean? So while I agree with you, I don't really like seeing like a lot of neon colors and whatever.
Nah.
If people want to do that, they want to do that. Just like in real life, if somebody wants to go out and buy a brand new Porsche and put that chrome, vinyl on it, I don't like it. I wouldn't do it, but I can't stop other people from doing it. Right? I'm not going to go and make it illegal.
Seeing that flying penis on the side of a fucking ship, it likely happened.
Oh my god!
Hey, listen, you know, there's a car down the street that draws dicks in the dust in the windows. Do I care? Not really. You know, it's still something I see in real life.
It is it's diversity.
We have Subarus and Nissans and stuff with anime characters all over them. Would I drive it myself? No. But am I gonna key their car?
But what would you rather see, Saurus? What would you rather see, more lore or the freedom? Personally,
I would rather see freedom.
Yeah, I like freedom.
Diversity is immersive.
I think it adds personality.
Is good, number one.
Individual people want to have their own thing, right? So that's how you'll recognize them.
Freedom will allow me to do exactly what I want to do. And I don't really care what other people do. You want to have your org fucking neon pink and white? I don't care. Cool. It makes me easier to spot you and hit you. You know,
true.
You draw attention to yourself.
But I don't want people to be. I don't want
people to be limited.
Everybody to be limited by that. And Matt Sherman, you say that, but I'm gonna show you something. I'm sure you've seen this already. There's what's his name? Deadmau5 in his Ferrari. Right? Do you know what that is? Here.
Yes. With the rap, with the crazy Nyan Cat.
Yeah. I can post
you can.
Yep, I certainly can. So there you go. Click on that. There's your.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Ferrari.
I think just as a game studio, as long as it's not offensive to any particular race, person, sex, anything, then they'll allow it. Obviously.
And you also notice that that's a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. There's at least two different cars there.
And you've got a Nissan as well.
Yeah.
The Nissan 34. The third one in from the right.
Yeah, he does. He has done it to a couple of cars. He raised the gumball with it, I think, multiple times with this look as well. I think that's where it originally comes from. I don't know what my microphone is doing today. It's constantly going down to 57 for some reason. I'm gonna lose my shit in a second.
It's Skype. It's Skype adjusting your audio. This is why Skype is fucking hot trash.
It is. It is hot trash.
Sol.
Yeah.
Don't forget to mention that the British and Con podcast special will be next week.
Oh yeah, definitely, and something that I wanted to wanted to mention at the end. Next week we have the British and Con special. Some people from the organization of British and Con are coming to join us, going to tell you something about it. While I'll keep an eye on my volumes and just keep them up with my mouse. It's going to be good. We're going to try and get some British streamers on, and we're going to have some fun there and enjoy ourselves. Most definitely. I think you guys got VerseCon coming soon, Saurus, in the USA as well.
I live in Canada, dude. I don't know.
Or let's say on that side of the ocean.
I think they're doing VerseCon for CitizenCon. I'm doing a different thing for the Redacted team. We are doing the Redacted content or Citizen Theater 3000 again.
Yeah.
Similar to what we did with Gamescom.
Nice.
That was clever. I like that.
Very good. Very, very good. FOIP. Going back on the FOIP thing, Ryan. One of the questions was, what's going to happen with people with glasses? What's going to happen with people with beards?
It's fine.
Exactly.
Glasses and beards, right?
So we need to promote this.
That it's working fine with glasses and beards. There's a little hiccups here and there, but they'll power through those. What's going to happen is, for example, if you pick your nose, like you said earlier, you do quite often there, Soldotcreate, or if you get a microphone in front of your face, so you decide to wear a mask or whatever, what it's going to do is it's just going to pause the tracking, and then they'll figure out some sort of idle animation or something that'll
your face will just go straight back to idle. Sean Tracy did demonstrate this at Gamescom, where he held a pen up in front of his face, his hand, and you can see the tracking disappeared.
Just disappeared.
So it's not going to distort your face in any way.
It was available to track again.
It's very clever, and don't forget what we saw at Gamescom was just a very rough version of it, a very raw version. That they are working on that right now, and these weird sort of creepy faces will change. I'm sure we can still pull creepy faces, but yeah, what you saw there, where there's that white guy and black guy sort of going.
Yeah.
It's going to change. It's not going to freak you out every time you start talking to someone.
I hope so. I hope so. Bear with me. Here we go. It's still on 100%. Happy days. A ship matrix update. Something that I'm pretty excited for, you know. And I think, and that's coming back onto what we said earlier with the hangar. I think if you have that hangar where the ships are in, you can still decide if you want to trade in your package or put it in the buybacks or whatever. You know, that could make and break a ship at the end of the day. And that's something that I found very nice about the hangar. You get a ship and you think, oh, this ship is cool. This ship is great. Eventually you'll get it into your hangar and you think, what the fuck is this? This is not what I wanted. And I think that is what is really missed at the moment from having our ships not in the hangar and not having a real ship matrix as well. You know what I mean? It's a tough one.
I agree with what you're saying, but you also have to remember that because they have brought in the pipeline as well, as quickly as they do produce these ships, that we don't see that as often. You know, where we're seeing the ships come in more often. I mean, and a lot quicker as a full thing. So that's why they sort of stopped doing that, is because it was extra patches that they had to do. That did cost some money, and that was prior to the Delta patcher. Now, exactly, I don't think they're ever going to take a step backwards, right? So now when we get the Delta patcher, I don't think they're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to start putting ships back in the hangar again. But I would like to see them introduce ships as soon as they're ready.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of having to wait for a major patch. That's all.
Would be good. I think if we would already have our hands, for example, in the Cutlass Black, you know. But it's good for your sales as well, I think, you know. But I'm not an expert on 100%. I'm not an expert on sales, don't get me wrong, you know. I'm good at graphic design, but then you got it.
If I could like spawn something that's like not finished properly yet, like a base texture on it, just so I can like walk around like you said, Saurus, and get a feel for skill.
For some of the ships that are pushed out, I mean, that would be awesome, but I don't think that's ever going to happen, right? Like something like the Banu Merchantman or the Javelin or whatever, maybe that even in its base, like hollow form, I don't think you'll ever see come in, unfortunately.
No. Sometimes pictures are enough. For me, the pictures of the Banu was enough.
If they made some sort of holographic table where you could bring up those individual models, at least small,
exactly.
Game that way.
I don't know if it was Ryan that said it on the previous podcast, that he wouldn't mind seeing white boxes. Or was it Madness? I can't remember. Someone said, "Oh, I don't mind seeing white boxes." I think that's
like I said, that's what I was expecting coming into this entire early access thing. We didn't get that, and I don't think we're gonna go. They're not gonna do that now, right? No. It's way too far gone.
Saying that, there's no reason for them to go back on it. They learn from the mistakes, and if enough of us say we would like to have them in game, we will. But it's more down to Chris Roberts not wanting to put a half finished whatever in our hands. But yeah, I think it's the pipeline itself. You can see that a perfect stage when even not white box, you know, they've got the final geometry, the rooms are complete. Put it in the hangar. There's no reason not to. Think, flight ready doesn't matter. Damage states don't matter.
I think that, to be honest, the best sort of compromise would be if they made some sort of hollow table that brought in the hollow models.
Fucking hollow table.
So it's a Sherman.
So you have the hollow models that they have on the website, and you can see those in your hand.
Sherman says, ready is subjective enough as is. Cutlass rework is ready on our end enough, but non-functional without the item 2.0 system. That's something that I didn't think about. Just hangar ready states were more work than they were worth just to put something out there. So it seems to be more work for them to put them in the hangar than just get them out there, you know.
Right, I mean? Which is why I suggest the hollow table thing, and then you don't have to worry about having the textures and stuff. then you can kind of see what the different scales of the ships are compared to other ones, even though that may change and things like that. And it's not a lot of more work because they have to make those models anyways for the Hull of Era on the website.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see the ship models in the fish tank, actually, not just the ship itself, but like you can have like castles and things where the fish can swim around. Have an old reclaimer with gaps that the fish can swim through. That'll be quite nice.
Not a bad one. Not a bad one. I think a big one on the subscriber town hall, the suits, the Titan suits.
I loved what they said about that.
Oh man, it was crazy.
It's like they said that they got it into a 3D, like they've got it in engine, and kind of working. But obviously the Titan armor or the Titan suits can carry size 1 ship weapons. But the problem is when they turn around in small corridors, they can't move. So they said it was literally defeated by a corridor.
That leads me to my question: is it necessary that the Titans go in corridors?
No, not at all. Not at all. They should have variation. Oh, but personally, no. I personally don't think they need to go in. They can have some that are external only. But
they only are used for planet side or outside in space or whatever. I think that but I think that their design doc for what a Titan suit is it's something that can go where players can go, essentially.
Yeah, so it just needs to shrink, I think. Whether or not they're going to change the weaponry so that you can't now hold a size 1 ship weapon. Because it did specify that it was the ship weapon that caused the issue, with it being like a meter in length. So I guess you'll just have the same size armor, but use infantry weapons. Which is kind of meh.
Yeah, I would still love to see the Titan armor purely for carry reasons, like industrial usage. Right, Titan armor.
Maybe they can go into warehouses and things like that. But do they need to go down corridors? Probably
no.
Not. If you have specific areas where they can go, then sure. But like I said, is it necessary that they fit in crawl spaces or
it would all depend on the reason for them. Like if you have them in a warehouse, then they become auto-loader, like alien things. They're not specific to military. Military ones, I guess, may need to clear out a building. So I think they need to have a variant.
To infantry, just like vehicles now are a supplement to infantry, right? Or aircraft or tanks or whatever. There are places where tanks or aircraft can't go to. And that's why they use infantry, or they use drones, or they use other tools at their disposal. There's not a one tool fits all, so you're not going to have a one ship that does everything. And just likewise, you're not going to have your character can't do everything. So that's why they have ships. That's why I have ground vehicles and all of these other things. So I think that depending on whatever their design doc is for the Titan, and we don't really know what that is yet. But once we start to understand what that is and what the Titan's designed for, then I think it'll be a lot easier to speculate on it.
I think they should just create a small, medium, and large Titan suit. Just go with the same sort of scale sizing. Have a smaller one that's more for breaching inside.
But do they need? That's the thing. Do they need small, medium, and large Titan? Like once again, what are the Titan suits for? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't think need is really the problem. It's like we don't need another pod racer, but they create them for the sense of just.
But what is the design behind the Titan suit? What is the purpose of them in the game? Once we know what that is, then like I said, then we're able to speculate more. Is it for moving large cargo around? Is it for defending things?
Combat?
Is it supposed to do both of those things?
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be able to jump jet through space? Is it even going to be able to be used in space? Or does it need to be used in gravity only? Or can it only be used in non-gravity and not on planet side? How do you transport it? Like, there's all of these questions that need to be asked before you can really, really, like, sort of look at it in more depth and detail.
Yeah.
You will press on your, what's it called? On your hologlass, and it will pop up like magic.
Yeah, well,
It would just appear from atoms arranging themselves properly.
I had it in my pouch.
It's like a TARDIS, like the phone thing from Doctor Who. You know? Pew! And it comes out. Character creation has it advanced. They said about 9 faces, which I think is good enough compared to what we got now.
Well, yeah, for the first iteration, there's no reason to go super deep with it if they're still developing it. So yeah, 9 faces is fine.
more than enough.
Yeah, they can always, just like clothing and ships and paint and all that other stuff, they can add to that afterwards. They just need the base functionality in there.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's important. Get the base, worry about the base functionality of a lot of things, and then add on to it over time.
Yeah, that's it. Get the that's what 3.0 is getting the basics in, and then they can add extra bits later down the line. So it's it goes with everything. So
that's what we've seen in the latest ATVs as well. Although I totally agree with what you said on Saturday, Ryan. I wouldn't read a book. I would look at the damn pictures, and we see a lot of the information. I think it's good stuff, but it's not something that I'm necessarily interested in. You know, it's I don't know, man. I want to see pretty things. I miss the old ATVs. I really miss the old ATVs, and I love that, you know. And Soros, you still do the watch parties, right? On the ATV. I stopped doing it because I do not enjoy it. Go check out Soros. He'll do the watch party. I watch it because we do it for the podcast and because I'm interested in what to see. But it's not like that I'm waiting for it and that I'm as excited for it as I used to be.
I like what they were doing before they did the burn down, only because we get the burn down report on Friday anyways, which is now the same day. I know for you guys it's the next day, but where I live, I'm in the same time zone as the West Coast as Los Angeles is, and we were used to getting the ATV at a reasonable hour during the day, like in between 1 and 3 p.m. And now we're not getting it until midnight, which means it's essentially the next day, right?
Yeah. And for us, it's 4 in the morning.
Burn down update report, anyways, on that. And then their reasoning for the reason it's being late is that they wanted the most accurate numbers. Well, what they could do is, instead of just giving us, they don't need to tell us what that is in a video. They could just tweet it out. This is what our current number is at for today.
They don't need. I mean, it's good that they do show us,
and they do
more
it anyways the next day
but
with the burn down report on the website.
Yeah, the schedule report thing.
So I understand that it takes time and effort and whatever, people away from their tasks when they're working on the studio reports, which I much would rather see. But it feels like they're still doing filming and all this stuff of all the meetings and everything anyways. So I don't know. And not everybody is now working on 3.0, I imagine, now that we're down to one major bug. You know,
one
maybe
major
there are
bug,
some people that are still working on some of the other bugs and things like that, but I don't know. For me, it's kind of meh.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I agree. I find when ATV drops, I am interested in the burn down because it's the earliest we get to hear about the status of 3.0, and I like to see it. But
it doesn't need to be accurate to the last hour if it's going to push it back by 12 hours.
Well, kind of that, in a way, that kind of happened this week, where there's a lot of confusion because we got told there was 5 bugs, and then all of a sudden on the production schedule there was 1. And that just happened in the space of overnight while
in 24 hours.
Yeah, right. And that goes to show exactly what's happening.
Right, so how important is it to get those numbers correct in the first place if you're just going to update it?
True.
Anyways.
Yeah, that does make a point.
Right, within that fast of a time period. It's not like it's being updated once a month or once every 2 weeks or whatever. But
I do.
Yeah, and I understand
main
that
feature of ATV.
What Matt Sherman said, there's still plenty more bugs working through. I know there's only one to go to evocation for this, limited test or whatever, and I know there's going to be more bugs that the rest of the development is working on. I'm just saying, I would rather them not have that section at all and be out on time.
Yeah.
That not have a studio report or a burn down section, and just have the second half that they've been showing.
Well, to be honest, I feel
about the numbers of the burn down.
I feel different. I only really look forward to the burn down now because don't get me wrong, the information we get in the sort of the deep dive is good, but as I say, I prefer the pictures. I'm not. A lot of the stuff they talk about is too in depth technically for me to even comprehend. So.
Right. Well, the last couple haven't had like a lot of the footage to go along with it, but generally it does.
They've made my life really easy with
streaming. I do like getting the burn. I try and wait up in the evening, but now it's more Friday morning. I get the burn down, and I'm like, get me to the point because I got to go to work. I want to know exactly where we are. So if I had to wait for the production schedule, which now comes out on a Saturday, I prefer to get that update early. So I do like the burn down, but I don't like it's replaced the other stuff, even though they needed to do that because people are busy doing stuff.
They could just condense the burn down, surely. Like, oh, this is where we were last week. Now this is where we are this week.
It's getting more and more confusing. The way the burn down has been so far, they did it every day, and it was very confusing because it was like they had 3 bugs, then there was no bugs. Now we're back up to 2 bugs. Now we're at 5. It was very like trying to write a script to put into words. I realized I can cut out, like, if you especially Noobify, I bet it was like, this is perfect. Fuck all that shit. I'm just gonna say there's 1 bug. There we go. It's done. You know, they do like to show us certain bugs, but whether or not they're relevant now, they're not, because all those bugs were probably gone apart from the persistent data cache and the crashing, which seems to be the main thing. So all the previous things, like the doors not opening, I think they're just trying to keep us in the loop with particular bugs. And obviously not everyone's going to enjoy seeing all the finite details of where they're going through, but others may enjoy it. I'm sort of by the by. I just absorb whatever they give to me.
I think also with them changing direction.
I like the burn down. It's quite important. I think they felt the importance of just being transparent with exactly what the situation is.
Right. I'm not saying I don't like the burn down. I'm just saying that the most up-to-date absolute number that they need to have shouldn't stop them from filming the content. Because
Definitely
they're
not.
going to update that, and it's going to be irrelevant within hours anyways.
Yeah, 24 hours, it's done.
Yeah, even before that, right? Even faster than that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, is my voice working now on Discord, by the way?
Are you talking, Sol?
Yeah, I was talking all the time, but my audio is still going freaking crazy. But I put this thing in so you can hear me through this, otherwise it doesn't even work. So what I personally think in regards to the bugs and what made the change is them obviously changing direction as well. You know what I mean? Them saying, okay, we're gonna now go for the bare basics that are needed to get 3.0 out. Let's forget all the other things. Them piping down for evocation, yeah.
And the first wave of evocation, yeah.
Exactly. Get it playable for what we want them to try out. That has obviously shrank those bugs as well. So
my question to you is, do you think that they're going to do these waves not only with evocation, but then they would release these waves to the PTU?
I really hope. I was thinking this.
I hope so, because with the Delta patch, they're going to be able to do that.
But I don't think so.
I'm not crossing my...
I don't think so, yeah.
I'm not holding my breath.
I think it would be really nice for the backers of the PTU waves to get them. Definitely, 100%. But I just cannot see them doing that at all.
Yeah. I would love to, you know.
Yeah.
But if they get the one sort of feature set ready and done,
yeah, basically,
they're able to put that patch out to the PTU, and then they can release the next part to the evocation for them to start practicing or not practicing, but start looking at the bugs and testing that out. Then when that's ready, that goes to the PTU, and then the next thing comes to.
See, logically, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
There's because also don't forget when they release it to the PTU branch, that's another thousands of people with different setups,
right, that are able to test things out.
More issues.
That being said,
so doing it in basis would be
don't
better.
expect that. I don't think that's.
Don't you guys think that would take the functionality of evocation away, though, in a certain way?
No, because it's still evocation is still first wave testing. That's all.
Okay. Yeah.
Sherman has actually said that hopefully PTU to live will be bugs, but not functionality waves. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not going to be in waves for PTU.
Yeah, one big wave.
I don't really, like I said, I don't expect that. It would just been a nice little.
It would be nice,
been a nice touch
definitely.
with the amount of lack of content that we've had for so long.
Be
able to
for
show that.
He said hopefully, by the way.
Hopefully. Oh, sorry.
Hopefully. Sherman is the smart one, though. Sherman says, yeah, hopefully.
Matt Sherman works on ship. He will be the first to let you know that he works on ship functionality, and that's pretty much it. Anything else, he's just like, he knows about as much as we do sometimes.
Definitely.
Which I don't always believe, but I'll believe it when he says it. If that makes any sense.
Let's move on to the AtV, guys. It wasn't a lot. It made my life with the usables. Yeah, it made my life with streamable and all the cutting of these videos a joy to do this week, because it wasn't too crazy much.
Yeah, it doesn't. It makes the videos quite condensed.
Definitely. I think we still had some cool things, and it's something that Saurus spoke about earlier, the differences between 2 years ago and now, especially sitting around the table, which I think was the difference between day and night, you know. And we'll touch upon it over the course and when we're going over it. Something that they said, difference between real world and game development. The AI needs to ask the chair how it's supposed to sit down, and that's something that I found really interesting to hear. Although I'm pretty much in line with you, Mac, where I say, okay, all these things go over my head that I hear in most of these these podcasts.
Yeah.
While there are a lot of people that find that sort of stuff really interesting, you know what I mean? I have a bit of a video for us to...
Yeah, well, I found it really interesting. As an ex-games developer, I actually found it interesting that they're taking the approach of the item tells the character. So like the character knows everything about the whole world. You know, the actual item says, the character goes, how do I use it?
It says, these are your options, what do you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, right, this is what you do. So...
Exactly.
If you look at it from that point of view, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
I did like they are putting a lot of variation in, because they don't want it to be like, if you've ever played, you look at Destiny. I played Destiny a while ago, and you all dance the same dance, or at the same time, if the animation is triggered, it looks ridiculous because everyone's doing it when it's not intentional. So I think with especially the mess hall, which kind of is an example of the verse, they won't all be playing the same animation, which is what gives you that impression that it's an in-game, not real life. So for immersion, having multiple animations, and I'm sure they will add more animations as time goes on. It's not just going to be the select 5 animations where one's like this, one's got his hands on the table, one's looking at his mobiGlas. It will spice things up, and it will... if you sit down with a group of AI, I would like to be able to blend in with AI for the sake of bounty hunting and things.
So my question to that, though, would be, you know, it goes back to the same thing as the female character. Is it important that we have all of these different animations and stuff in right away, or is this something that it can add in later on?
I would say later on.
But I know, for example, like it makes sense for them to film all those animations at the same time and get those all done, and you know, whoever's working on animations, if they have them ready, they're ready.
But when you think about it, we're not waiting on animations, are we?
Or sitting down, do you need 30 different animations?
We're not waiting on the animation. We're waiting on the one bug. And so while that bug is being fixed, there's no reason why they can't implement more. As long as that doesn't hold it up. Obviously.
But I'm just saying going forward. So if they decide to add a knife in game and they give you a bunch of different animations for that knife, is it important for all those animations to be in? If the core
or one would be enough. Is that what you said? You say one animation for the start would be enough, and all the rest of them can come later in incremental patches or something like that. More
right?
Yeah.
I think as long as they have a balance for the, like, if say for example the knife, if they have a knife attack, as long as they've got a counter knife attack for that one attack, then that is fine. There's no reason to add more.
A great example, and now we know they already have this, but a great example would be sitting down in a seat. Do we care that the first implementation has a little bit of clipping through the leg, or it has so many other bit, like, dude, I'm playing at 5 frames a second, who gives a shit, right? So it's like that, and that's sort of what I'm saying. At what point do they need all of the functionality to be in right away, and how important is that as opposed to them being able to just put it in for us to use and start testing it out, and then sort of add on to it from there.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's no reason to chuck loads in there.
You know, like if they're doing, you know, all the animations all at the same time because they're doing all the mocap at the same time because it saves money, then sure, that makes sense. You know, especially when we have these long patches in between. But just moving forward, that's sort of what I'm trying to hit on, even with the female thing and all of this other stuff as well. How much functionality does it actually need to have before coming in, where they can just add that when it's ready coming in? Like how much does it actually affect the game?
With the Delta patch, I do hope that they will just start putting in animation, things like that, you know, rather than waiting until they have a perfected animation. They will start introducing earlier builds of things. But you are right. There's no reason to have 10 finite, perfectly animated movements if the functionality is just to sit at a table.
For Squadron 42, that would matter, I would say, Ryan. But not for the
Squadron 42. If you notice the uniforms, they were all Squadron 42. So this isn't actually, they're not actually showing us anything that is needed for 3.0.
This is all Squadron 42.
Squadron 42 content. Yeah.
Right. And that's a whole different thing, and I agree with you for that because we're not really in that. But I'm just saying this as, the female character, as all of this other stuff.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. Definitely.
That could come in. Yeah. That's all.
Definitely. And it's
alpha game. We kind of expect these things, just bring it the raw, like you said, sort of the core components.
Soldotcreate just faded away into the distance. I don't know if you guys heard that. He was like, yeah.
No, I did that on purpose, by the way. I did that on purpose because I wanted to let Mighty speak. I fixed my audio problem. It was indeed Saurus, Skype that was muting the whole shite. And we fixed it. I will send Skype an angry email after this. I will show them the Viking anger.
Vote with your wallet. Just stop using it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go on, Mighty. What were you saying, buddy?
I have no idea.
Game development.
I thought you were disconnecting again. I thought it was funny.
No.
I think I was on about we expect this from an alpha, so something basic, going to a chair, like Sora said, you go up to the chair. We don't mind if it clips or it just kind of instantly, the character instantly snaps 90 degrees, to sit at the table. We can accept that as an alpha, and then add the polish later. And with a Delta patcher, I hope they take advantage of that and just kind of think, okay, we'll add this base animation, and then we'll add the extra 40 other animations as well, that are possible to sit at the table, for example, like you said.
But we've seen much worse. We've seen much worse alphas, guys. We've mentioned one earlier. Look at Call of Duty. I've played alphas
in Star Citizen.
Oh yeah.
Right, look at the rubber banding and the freezing and stuff back in Arena Commander. What was that, 1.3 or something? 0.8?
0.8, yeah.
Something?
0.8,
I don't know what it was, but
it was crazy, I come from a time we didn't even have all this, I'm glad that we have it, and now we have more to fuck about with and to stream and to enjoy and now the orgs are, as Sora said in the beginning, the orgs are starting to becoming big things. We're going to get so much more fun at the end of the day. I don't care how someone sits at a seat. I'll see that later when the full game releases. Then I want to see that stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't give a flying fuck. I do not give a flying fuck. As long as the basic functionalities are there and we can have fun with each other and we can fuck about and I think where it's more important is in game modes and then I'm not saying sitting animations obviously, but in game modes.
Hashtag for everyone. Functionality over fidelity.
Yeah, definitely. I think in game modes like the FPS.
Drink now when we.
Yes, we still need to drink. I think those sort of functionalities in FPS or in Arena Commander are a lot more important because they could be game breaking. But in the MMO side of things, where things don't really matter at the moment yet. Who cares, man? And Squadron 42. That's where. But we've seen it. We've seen it over the last. Everything that we got up till now has been Squadron 42. Idrises, Javelins that they've been making, all the fighter ships. It's all for Squadron 42 at the end of the day, which is fair enough.
Priority for that, yeah.
Which is fair enough, which is good. But what I hope now is that we'll see more of the, and we've seen it, and with the Reclaimer, we slowly start seeing specialized ships, the mining, the transport, exploration, it's slowly coming in, all that stuff, and I'm happy that we see that, because I was sick of the damn fucking fighters, I mean?
I am so excited, because I'm shit at dogfighting, absolutely shit.
I'm not good.
Probably sort of just below average, to be fair, but I am more interested in industry, that sort of thing, that sort of side of things, and I am excited to see after Squadron 42 is finished, because obviously when they're creating Squadron 42, they start creating and think, we need that sort of shit. We'll push that as a concept sale just for the fucking sake of it. So there we go. But as time goes on, we will see more industrial things. And the game is also going to flesh out less and less about combat. Combat is just one aspect of Star Citizen. And so far, that's all we know, because that's all that's been presented to us. 3.0 brings cargo, which will bring a lot more interest in there. And I think we will see a far greater increase in more jobs, industry, roleplay style gameplay rather than combat. Obviously, combat's going to be. I mean, you're a pirate org. Overdrive's a pirate org. That's what you want to do. But you're not going to be trolling people. You're going to be disabling ships, stealing the cargo for a purpose. So it brings a lot more in gameplay, not just combat.
We'll see what the gameplay is.
Definitely, we don't know.
Then we'll be able to sort of more decide, and that may even change what the org's role is. Right now, depending on how reputation works with piracy and stuff like that, because we do have people in the org that don't want a bad reputation, but still want to be able to work with us. So if that's the case, then I'll have to make a second org that's pirates only, that'll be affiliated with the main org.
Do you know something I've been talking about recently is everyone specifies that their org is pirate org. Your best bet is to say, I'm just a cargo hauler. I don't do anything other than haul cargo. But on the actual sidelines, you're a fucking pirate. That's it depends on
it depends on the reputation and how it works. So that's what I'm waiting for. That's a big thing.
True.
I didn't actually go in and have a main organization, because there's so many things up in the air about how mechanics are going to work. Because I don't really know 100% what I'm going to do in the game. So
I'm going to be a pirate, 100%.
So yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So I haven't committed to anything. Yet.
Well, I can see what Sora says. It's at the moment, and a good example, and I don't want to touch on it too much. An org like UINS used to be. They are not pirates. They are guns for hire, mercenaries. There is no functionality for that, so they are immediately classed as pirates. You know what I mean? While they are not really pirates, because that's the only functionality we have. And I think it's good to see what are we gonna get.
And for a sec there.
Oh yeah, I'll talk in.
Are you talking?
I can hear him.
Mike, you're an asshole. I'll talk into my washed sock. By the way, I'm waiting for my thingy to come through. But I completely lost it again. It's always the same with you, man, Mac. You always do this to me. Why you do this to me, Mac?
Too easy.
Oh yeah, I know where I was. Because we don't have the functionalities, people can't really push their orgs in the direction they want to push them. We need to see what is going to happen. And it's what Mighty says as well. People might change their mind because they don't like how the functionality works.
Yeah. True. Yeah. People will play in a role that they enjoy playing rather than a role 100%. That they specifically want to play. Yeah,
definitely.
And then you also have to look at all the different org tools and things like that we will eventually come down the pipeline, whether it be based out of Spectrum or Star Citizen or both. There's a lot of things that are going to change a lot of things with different orgs, but it'll be interesting to see.
Definitely.
Mm.
I can't wait. I really can't wait. A good one. What I wanted to show you guys, what we touched upon earlier, was the table and how it evolved. I still wanna put the video up on the podcast for everyone to see. This is the dude with the different animations, by the way. This is the first one that I'm gonna put up. So the way he sits, it really looks very natural. I think it's pretty cool though. But it's something, and again, Soros, it is something that I wouldn't mind waiting for. I don't think this should be a priority at the moment. Although it's very fucking nice though. How he sits there, you really got the feeling it's a real dude. He can't sit still. He's constantly moving. It's cool to see though what the engine can and what the possibilities are for the engine. I love it. I like to see this sort of things, although I don't think they're the most important things.
Makes it feel alive.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. Although I don't think it's the most important thing at the moment, it's good that they have a team and that they have Chris that says, okay, you know what, I want to see these things eventually, you know what I mean? And probably Item System 2.0 is a big bugger at the moment as well, because Item System 2.0 requires these things to be from a higher level as well. You know what I mean? It's probably a lot of factors that are pushing them to get these things out. You know what I mean? and for basic functionalities to work as well.
This is the thing. It is kind of like what Saurus was saying about it being like, you know, do we need all this, or can they avoid it and just bring it in quite basic? I think, yes, they can avoid it, but it looks incredible, but it's not necessary. Like the way that these AI act, like I didn't expect AI for 3.0 anyway, so that's quite a nice surprise. So there's no reason just to not have them walking around.
Yeah.
The fact that they actually animate and do things is cool. It's not necessary, but again, it's not holding up the development of 3.0. It's the fucking crashing that's stopping it. So while, like they always say, while they're trying to solve these bugs, these critical bugs, other teams are working on other areas. So yeah, there's no reason why they can't. As long as it's not holding it up, yeah. I don't want the 3.0 to be held up by whether or not the guy moves or
an animation.
glitches in it. So I guess as long as that's not the problem, and it is the crashing that is causing the problem, then they can just keep evaluating it, keep updating it, and keep it going.
Definitely. I'm trying to find the table. I love the table. Table interactions. I found it. So this is the difference, basically.
To me.
Sorry.
But, you know,
Yeah, I can barely hear him.
you're very quiet to me. I can barely hear you. But
Is this better, by the way?
Slipping.
We're on two different mics. So the podcast is on my.
You're loud.
The
I turned you up. Don't worry about it.
No, the podcast is on the condenser, and you guys are on this Astro A40 thingy. So this is basically the old work in progress and the new one compared to each other. And I think they've come a long way though from where they were and where they are now. You know, it was a big thing, obviously, and we mentioned it before. It's not really necessary, but it was what the AtV was about this week, sadly. But I think it's nice though, and it's what you say, Ryan. It's all Squadron 42 stuff, but it gives me a good feeling about what is to come in character creation wise, character diversity wise.
What we're seeing here is nothing to do with the PU at the moment. This is all just part and parcel of getting Subsumption working for Squadron 42. Because they need that, they need it to be polished for that game, which is why we're seeing them go to these finite details of making sure that they're quite varied in animations and so forth. It is all for Squadron 42, because like all these uniforms we've seen in that scene, they are all Squadron 42 related. None of them are the verse, but we will probably see them in the verse. But they are UEE military uniforms.
Yes, definitely. Jumping on. Let me check what we got, guys. This whole audio thing has completely messed up my head today. So we had the standing animations as well in the AtV this week. Similar thing. And I think what you say as well again, Ryan, mostly Squadron 42 related stuff. Still good to see. I think it... Huh?
Your voice. It'll have familiarity.
It's like twanging a rule on the end of a desk.
It is, yeah. Like you're bored at school and you go. We can hear you. It's always at the end when you start cutting off. So don't worry, we hear you.
Good. I'm sorry, boys.
I'm trolling. Don't worry, mate.
No, it's alright. It's good. It's good. It's good. Let's see. We've gone to most of the things today. No, I'm completely lost it. Bands Day. Are there some things that you want to touch upon there, Ryan? I know you did some work for that one.
What's that?
Bands Day.
Ben's Day. Yes.
Yes.
Do I still have the fucking script for Ben's Day? I hope I do. Yes, I do. So. Nothing really too new. Someone asked about what ship would complement the Reclaimer for carrying, because the Reclaimer comes with a Constellation-sized cargo bay, and they said the hull B, the hull C, but also obviously the Caterpillar would be kind of cool. I think that would work really well, personally.
Definitely.
Will they resell the 600i after the Q&A update? They said it will be offered again, but they're not sure when the Q&A will be done. So potentially, but there's no guarantee there. Smugglers and criminals will be able to purchase. Will they be able to purchase the same items that civilians can, or will there be certain things preventing this. And he said that they did speak about limiting military stuff directly to people who are clearly civilians, but also people who are on the other side of the law, like yourself, Saurus, will have access to other things in the black market that civilians may not. So there will be swings and roundabouts to each. Feel free to jump in if you've got anything to say about it. But Friday's happy hour, will we be able to see the create a mission tool in action? And yes, that's likely going to be something down the line, but nothing until 3.0 is likely released. The whitelist guide. Does anybody know what the whitelist guide is? Have you guys all heard of the whitelist guide?
The what?
Nope.
The whitelist guide. If you look on the website, Whitley's, yeah. Tomato.
Jesus Christ.
I say Whiteley's, you say Whitley's.
And everybody else says Whitley's. Sure.
I'm special to this whole thing.
I won't deny you that.
Will we see a site revamp when it comes to the different specs? And they say they're trying to figure out all the actual specs. Obviously, the ship update with the stats page for all the ships. There's 106 ships. Jared actually has a hand in this, and he says generally they're waiting for 3.0 to be out of the door before they start finding the finite details. So at the moment, no, but they first need to figure out the actual stats for the ships. So once you see the update on the website, we'll likely see the fucking Whitlist guide or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
There's so many ships that still need to be made that they don't even know what it's going to be. You know, give a ship to the Manchester studio and it becomes 4 times the fucking size anyway. So
I think if they take the ships they have so far and then find the stats for that, that's fine. If there's anything in production at the moment, they should then add that.
Just leave it out.
Once they get to a final state.
Exactly. Give the people a little bit of an idea when you sell a how do you call it? When you do a concept sale, but you know. We all know by now in 5 years development that things change by the day in the development of Star Citizen. You know what I mean? It's there's no point in sticking to things, you know. And people that are new that get into the game will find out very soon how it goes with Star Citizen. And I think there's a charm of it as well. I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? I don't mind seeing a Banner Merchantman become bigger or an Idris become 3 times the size or whatever. If that is what needs to be done, do it. You know?
Definitely. I agree. Yeah.
And he has been a ship that's shrunk in size.
Well, compensate people in a different way. You know, give them the option to you have the options to exchange it. You know, coming CitizenCon, and it's something that you said earlier, Ryan. 600i probably becomes available again with CitizenCon on the sale. You know, let's be honest. Most of the ships come on sale with CitizenCon anyway. So hopefully we'll
anniversary sale, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some anniversary sales coming anyway. So we'll see most of things coming again each year. You have an option to change at least each year, or maybe when a new concept comes out anyway. You know, and for the people, if you have friends, you can trade with them or whatever. You know, whatever you feel like. You know. I've bought a ship that I thought, there's a shit. You trade it in, you buy something else. If you really, you're not buying ships anyway. We said this multiple times. You're not buying ships. You're buying into development, and you get a ship with it at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why when people ask me what ship should I buy,
yeah.
No. Oh, that's yeah.
An Aurora.
The Aurora game package.
Buy Elite Dangerous. Fuck it.
But Saurus, what do we really need? You need the standard to start to get the game going at the moment.
Yeah,
you know?
the standard game package. That's it.
Yeah. You know, you don't need more.
I was speaking to someone on Battlefield, and they were saying like, I said, "Have you backed the game?" He said, "No, it's such a scam. It's all the shit. The game's too expensive." And I'm like, "No, it's not.
It's not.
The ships are expensive, but there's no one saying buy the fucking ship.
You need to buy it."
Buy the starter package, and you have access to everything anyway. You just got to grind for it.
Exactly, it's what you want to put into it. And so, for some people, that is $10K. For some people, that is $50, and for some people, that is $500. At the end of the day, it's what you want to set aside for someone's dream, which is Chris's dream. Sorry, say again, Mighty. My apologies.
Aren't though? If you was a new person, a newbie to Star Citizen, and you
I'm guessing it's not.
Would you think this? You know, like
right. Well,
one of the going to watch a stream when you think when you ask the question, do I need to buy this
so
ship?
One of the big problems is on the website, right? And then it shows all these extravagant ships and everything, and has a price beside them. And that's the first thing anybody new, whether they're signed in or not, sees. And something that I've suggested to CIG multiple times is that they make it so if you're not signed in, or if you're signed in and you don't have a game package, that you don't see anything but the basic game packages. Anything from the Aurora all the way up to the Constellation, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right? None of these $10,000 game packages, none of these whatever, because then people are going to be, spooked a little bit.
Freaked.
Then once somebody has a game package, then you can show them, unlock all that other content and show them that, and then they can start asking about that once they're in. I think that turns off a lot of people, where they come into the game and they're like, fuck that, I'm out. Right?
It is misleading to a point, yeah.
I know that if I didn't do the research on it myself beforehand, and I just went to some game, or take another game. If this was some other game, then I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out, whatever. And I go to their website, and it's like that, I'd be like, I'm out. Peace. Without knowing anything about it.
Yeah. It's something that we touched upon a lot of times, Source, the functionality of the website, the way the website works, including the way they show off things. It's proper dog shite. It's dog shite. Let's be honest.
They have spoken about revamping
the website. Is changing to 3.0 as well. So who knows?
Yeah. So hopefully it will make it a little less misleading, and people will.
Well,
will be able
it's not misleading. It's just less confusing.
Yeah. Less confusing. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Something else that was mentioned was: will we see many more tools and devices to aid in things like exploration, surveying, and hacking? And this just goes back to what we were talking about when the game is at the point where it's ready to start building more things. They said that different types of scanning equipment for maybe scanning jump points, scanning planets, scanning resources, lots of different scanners for data collection in different areas. You'll have probes, drones, hand scanners, personal handheld scanners, and different armors and things for exploration. So again, it goes back to this whole once they have the basics made, they will start specifying in other areas, and then they will grow with equipment, weapons, armor, ships, everything from there, and you will see a lot of ideas and things come out that you can then purchase and help along with your profession take. So there's a lot to come, but that again isn't until 3.0. It's out 3.1, 3.2.
no.
Who knows?
A lot of it will probably be integrated in the Moby class as well. I would think.
Upgraded Moby glasses, upgraded helmets, and just equipment in itself. Like we know that the ship's components with item 2.0 will allow for different scanners, different CPUs for specific jobs. Now, not every ship will be able to do the same role, but if you have an Aquila, for example, an exploration ship, you will be able to get a better scanner or a more particular scanner for a particular role. Like if you're just looking for jump points, you'll have a jump point scanner. It's not going to be the same scanner for looking for resources on a planet or for looking for ships. So the type of gameplay you want to play will depend on what you decide to purchase to play, to complement your play style. It will come. There's no reason for them right now. Again, it's why implement 10 animations when you can have one that does the same thing for the moment. Exactly.
Get it out there. Get us playing on it. Everyone will shut up. Including myself, and we'll get stuff going again, and I want to see it rather sooner than later, look at, and this is something that, and this is a bit off topic, but that always hurts me a bit. The Star Citizen directory at the moment on Twitch, you know what I mean? And hopefully we'll go back up to speed as soon as 3.0 hits, and get everyone back into the game, get everyone going again. Sure. And because the game deserves it. It's a game that is doing stuff that none of the games that are out there have done up till so far, and I hope we're going to see a lot more interest in the game again.
I mean,
it's
we
good
see
for
it with every
CIG.
patch, right?
We see it, yeah. You see the baby boom, I call it.
You can't expect people to be playing this game, to be doing the same thing. There's a few content creators like myself that torture ourselves doing it, but I mean, for the most part, it's how it should be.
Exactly. I agree with you, Source.
When 3.0 comes out and there's a lot of content, we're going to see a big boost in popularity as well.
I've done it, but dogfighting every day and FPS shooting on 2 maps every day. At some point, you think, "What the fuck am I doing?"
I mean, at the beginning of the year, I think 3-4 months at the beginning of the year, I was just doing nothing but Star Citizen. 5 days a week, 6-7 hours a day. I was just Star Citizening up. I was really into it, and I got to get to a point where it's like I've done everything. I've put things in things. I've crashed stuff into stuff.
Oh,
it's like, what more can I do? You know, and it's like I need to kind of branch out because it started the content started to dry up a little bit. You know, so it's like,
you know what I've started doing with streams is because I can't play 2.6. Sometimes
Talk
I
shit.
feel like it if I'm
Talk shit all day.
that goes along with it. Yeah, definitely. But I've started playing the Gamescom footage, commercials, just actual Star Citizen footage in the background while I sit there, drink and talk. There's no reason to actually play any game. Don't forget you've got like kind of IRL stream, but based on a game, so you can keep it styled to Star Citizen, so you still get the viewership. But you are talking about the game. You're not just talking about random crap. But it takes the strain away from trying to play a game that you're no longer able to physically, you know, your mind's melted out your ear. You don't want to play it anymore. So play the footage. There's a good 3, 4, 6 hours worth of footage there from Gamescom. Put that in the background. People come for you. They don't come
Couple
to
of
see
beers.
what's going on.
Yeah,
No,
but
definitely.
I'm just, and I agree with all of that. I'm just saying he was talking about the directory being essentially dead, and I was explaining why that is. And you can't expect everybody,
No,
especially people who are variety streamers, especially. Why would they do that?
No, I'm not talking a variety streamer. I myself sort of started as a purely Star Citizen streamer. I've turned into a variety one more or less as well because I would love to play Star Citizen, but I can't at the moment. You know, I'm at that point. And
I think every person who started on Star Citizen has branched into variety because it is just there's only so long you can.
The way the patch system works, obviously, the way the patch system works creates it, but it's good as well. It makes us see other things in life as well. You know, it made me go racing. It made me go into the creative stuff. I've seen Saurus doing the IRL stuff, which was cool to see. You know, Mac, you playing PUBG. People love playing, and it's good. I would love to see that Blossom moment again. I can't wait for that Blossom moment where I have a lot of choice and where a lot of people are streaming and a lot of new people come into our directory and enjoy all our shenanigans. You know what I mean? It's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to that. Who's Gamble is a streamer, right? Or isn't he?
No.
No, Gamble's a cunt.
Isn't Gamble is a good guy, but this is my Dutch Canadian friend. I love him, the bastard. Let's go to the questions, guys. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
We have a whole three.
I'm gonna try and answer as many as I can with just one word.
yeah.
We have a whole three.
Should we do like one word answers all the way around?
Well,
see how that goes.
we have a whole three questions. The first one is from a gamer girl U. Let me see. I'm not going to call out names. So a certain person posted in a C-sub today that people should not leak or read leaks because this hurts streamers who can use the evocation information for their advantage. What are your thoughts? And this is a question for everyone, and I will kick it off with Ryan. What are your thoughts on such a thing?
What's the question? What
So
specific question?
Someone on the SC sub and Reddit today advised that people should not leak or read leaks because this hurts streamers who can use the evocation information for their advantage.
How does it hurt streamers if they leak it to us?
I don't know.
Do you mean it gets us banned or something? It's not going to affect us if we're not evocation and we say anything from evocation that has come from an evocation member, then it's not going to hurt us. It's going to hurt them as an evocation member. I wouldn't want to leak anything because CIG have specifically asked that
not to do that.
Happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because for a reason, and I 100% support the reason why they are not doing it. But I don't think we will be hurt as streamers or content creators.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and say I disagree with that.
That's not one word.
I know. Disagree. No, the thing is if the stuff gets leaked, one way or another, people are going to find out about it and learn about it. So why wouldn't I share that? The thing for me, I don't work for CIG. I'm here. I work for my audience. and my audience wants Star Citizen news and content. And if there's leaks, I'm going to share that with my community. That's why I'm not in Evo.
It's not going to hurt you, though, is it? It's not going to hurt your channel.
It's not
going
to hurt me at all. No. So that's why I'm in Evo. That's why I'm not in Evocati. I was asked to be in the first wave of Evocatis, and I was the only person to turn it down. And the reason that I turned it down was because I thought it was a conflict of interest with what I do. That means that any of my speculation, which is right about 80% of the time, I then couldn't do, or I would have to go out of my way and lie about. Any of my first reactions to anything are no longer genuine because they're not first reactions because I saw it in Close Evocati. I don't have the time to go in and be testing the game off of stream. I can do it on stream, but I can't do it off of stream. Like I don't have that extra time available to me. And so it's like, and if that information's out there, then I'm going to share it with my audience. And that's just how it's going to be.
It's how it is in the real world as well.
May disagree with me or whatever, but I'm first and foremost about my audience and about the information in Star Citizen.
I totally agree, Cyrus. I totally agree.
If you're going to keep it behind an NDA that I think is unwarranted, then that's my opinion. And I'm, maybe tie down your Evocatis a little more.
Yeah. I've not signed anything. If something's out there in the public domain, public, yeah, you want to share it with your audience, of course. So, yeah, I agree. What I would do. So
definitely.
Definitely.
I don't know. I don't read enough Reddit probably to see leaks. I think that is my issue. I have no clue how this whole Reddit thing works. I'm 32 years old and I don't know it. It's a shame, I know, but I just can't, I don't know, man. Reddit never pulled me in as very readable. I personally don't like Spectrum as well, but that's just a personal thing, I don't expect everyone to feel that way. I'm just not good at it. I like old school forum stuff, For me, that's a lot easier.
I'm good
to
at
read.
reading. I'm not good at.
Yeah, really.
I don't really share my thoughts so much because it's the internet.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do like reading.
Just reading through it and absorbing. You're a lot on Reddit then as well, Source, if I may ask, obviously.
I'm on Reddit right now. I'm on Reddit all the time. And it's not just Star
on
Citizen.
Reddit as well.
For anything I'm interested in, I absorb as much information as I can like a sponge.
Okay, yeah. What I hear from a lot of people is that it's a very salty place. A very...
It can be. But I mean, it depends on
where you go,
how you
also.
interact with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even
That's
interact
why I
with
don't
that.
interact with it. I just read it.
I just read what's there and absorb it and take away from it what I need.
What you need, yeah. It's the same probably as we do with the ATVs and that sort of things. Next question is from Brian, again to everyone. Martial arts in 3.0. Your thoughts?
It was mentioned a while ago, though. Oh, sorry, you go first, Soros.
Neck takedowns, that's it. The end. I don't need martial arts. I don't need hand-to-hand combat when most fights are going to be using weapons and stuff.
Oh,
I'm dying.
You're right. Heimlich.
It's an unnecessary thing to add into the game. It's unnecessary. Kung Fu Citizen.
Robert has mentioned that martial arts, again, this is going back to what we talked about earlier, where Chris Roberts said something. Whether it's going to make it into the game or not, it depends. Whether if they can do it well, then yes, why not? If it's going to look terrible and play awkwardly, then no. But he did say that martial arts will be a thing, and you'll be able to go to somewhere like a Banu protectorate area and learn something new. A bit kind of like Shenmue, where you can travel around.
Maybe you learn different takedown animations. Maybe that's what they should do. But having a full fucking martial arts in a game where it's based around guns and weapons in the future is stupid.
But it's not based around guns, though. It's not all that. There's going to be non-lethal combat because bounty hunters won't just want to kill.
And so you have tasers, which are
you're going to have fist fighting.
Based.
We've seen in 3.1 there's that fist fighting is coming, like punching, basic punch throws, things like that will make its way in.
In certain situations, Ryan.
If they go, I don't know.
You
how
don't need
necessary
to take
is
that,
that?
do you? It's just
how necessary.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that they're creating isn't necessary, but the finite details that they're creating are what make the game what it is. There's no reason to have a lot of other things in, but it's the little details that make the game what it is.
How much time and effort would need to go in to the game to make it an effective, not only first person but third person animations for
All they have,
like martial arts? It would be so.
All they have is
ridiculous.
time and effort.
It would be
all they have
so
is time
ridiculous.
and effort. The whole game is supposed to take a long time to create. There's no reason why they can't put out a patch that is just fine for playing, and then eventually, down the line, they create a system that is worthy of FPS combat.
Bring it in when the game's out, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, no. I don't think it's ever going to hold up the game, but there will be a status, a particular hand-to-hand combat mechanic. Whether or not it is to the point where you can actually go to different places and learn different martial arts, Chris Roberts has said so, but again, if it's doable, it's got to be done right, and if it's not done right, then cut it all together because it will just feel awful.
I think I agree.
I've been doing martial arts for 10 years. I want it.
Well, like in Christian Bale in Equilibrium, I want to go up to someone and roundhouse kick someone's gun out their hand, grab the gun, flip it around, and shove up someone's ass.
Yeah. And Soros will be like,
so what keys
no
are you
fucking
using to
way.
do this exactly?
Yeah, that's a good one.
XXBB to
Yeah, like,
Yes.
I think
a knife,
as long as it's done
basic
right,
takedowns
it's
are
good.
fine.
I think I think it's I agree with both of you, with both Soros and with both Ryan. You know, I think it's a functionality that should come in later. You know, there are people that want to do this sort of creeping up style, Metal Gear Solid style gameplay. Maybe, you know, want to do spying for other orgs. You want to go into their idris and listen in on them, and then you need to do silent takedowns. But the whole like kung fu fighting Jackie Chan thing, I don't know, man. Maybe very limited, where you can just twist someone's neck from behind or something like that. You know, silent takedown, in that sort of style. But you mean like the whole like kung fu fighting, everything up there, Ryan? Is that what you want to see? Like, you want to be a space ninja or something like that?
I don't see the reason why if they do it right. I don't mean like stupidly in depth like a Street Fighter game. I don't want it. No, you know, Star Citizen is going to be a whole game. It's not going to be one or another. It's gonna be fuck you.
I need more drink,
It's
man.
going to be a mixture of everything. So if works well and it doesn't impose on, like, you could just have a basic cross punch, whatever, that's fine. If you want to then adapt that and make it into a thing, fair enough. I would love to see fight clubs personally. Like, you know, you get a constellation, you head off out.
We have one. We have one in the FPS map, right? That where that engine part hangs from the
Let
sky.
me know where the fight club is. I'm gonna show up with.
You're not invited. You're not invited to the fight club because you don't want it to happen.
Must learn that.
I want to dance off. Screw the fighting. I want to dance.
Oh, I want.
Oh my god!
I want full-fledged controllable dancing.
Okay, we dance off.
I want to be the next fucking ballerina, the next great American ballerina.
Oh
I want
my
that.
God.
Banu ballerina.
Do we have Banu dance instructors and that sort of stuff? Is that what it's going to be in your eyes, Mighty?
I want to learn the hidden art of Vanduul dancing.
Oh my god! Maybe it's a good one. Maybe
Chris Roberts, I bet he says yes.
they probably need to make animations for that again, guys. They probably need to make animations and redo those animations again to make them up to speed for what we want in the game. You know.
Make sure you make tasks as well. It's really important.
The next question is to everyone.
The fight club happens, if you get close to us, I'm gonna be like, no, Soros, you're bad. Let me roundhouse you to your avatar face.
Rule number 1: you don't talk about the Fight Club.
Yeah.
Next question is again for everyone, guys. And we'll let Mighty kick this one off. Will there be a ship or vehicle that transports the Titan armor? And this is from our question monkey.
Is it an actual monkey? Or...
I don't know.
What was the question?
So the question was, will there...
Titan armor transportation.
Yes. What ship?
Specifically for Titan armor.
How?
Will there be a ship to transport it?
Cargo. I don't know. I'll stick it in that.
Shove it in. Shove it in there. Put your foot behind it.
If they figure out the Titan armor first, that might be a good starting point,
Well,
I guess.
Yeah.
I could see
something like the Argo would probably be feasible. I mean, like the Argo was kind of like had this module thing that was attachable to it, like the cargo or the personal crew. You might just be able to shove a on it, and transport it through that or something.
I could see a Starfarer, where you have the back door opening. I could see a place for Titan suits there on the wall, in the wall in front of you when you walk in.
In reality, we need to know that.
Where are they going to use them? And where are they going to... What you said earlier, on Nexus.
Well, yeah,
Source.
all that will base on how big it is, and then the size will let us know where it'll be able to fit.
Right. It might never even leave a planet, you know what I mean? There might be no need for it to leave a planet. Although I think if you look at what's the movie with the blue people, Avatar, you see it used in space. And that's a cool, but it's just speculations. We don't know, it's pretty damn tough.
Everything here is 100% legitimate information. Make sure that you clip all of our answers and forward them to Disco Lando and ask him more information about what we answer, because it's all 100% true and sourced directly from him.
And don't forget to put it on Reddit.
Oh, yeah. Shout about it on Reddit. Just to make sure we do not work for CIG. We're just a bunch of idiots drinking beer.
Maybe.
Source.
It's
all on Source. I have nothing to do with this. Well, Ryan, what do you think about this question?
He's not even here. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
That was good timing. What question is that?
The transport of the Titan.
The Titan arm.
No, we're on to pole dancing now. Do you think...
Yes. I think when it comes to Titan armor, military-wise, it would be good if they had something like out of Live, Die, Repeat, where they have particular Titan armor deployment ships. So yeah, I think military-wise definitely would be cool. But again, like we were saying before, when Sora says we need to know more about the Titan armor before we actually make decisions on that sort of aspect.
The Argos, like the Argos, like whack a Titan and an Argo and have like 60 Argos like dropping down onto a planet's surface.
Where the fuck are these 60 Argos coming from?
In the same vein, you could say anything that has some sort of module, they could create some sort of carrier module for it, right? Whether it be the Caterpillar or the Vanguard or whatever.
A bit like the armor on Fallout, where you have those little armor racks.
Armor racks, yeah. I could see that in bigger ships. If there is going to be an implementation, it's going to be in space. It's all a question of if at the moment, where is it going to be used? You could use this, how is this thing called that looks like a bird? I constantly for the Prowler. That would be a great ship to deploy a combat style thing. But is it going to be used in space? You know what I mean? Drake Caterpillar. Great examples. You could use every ship that has the size for it. The Argo idea is a good idea, It's we don't know though. Is it going to be used for industry? Is it going to be used for combat? Where is it going to be used? How limited are we? It's all questions that we still are asking ourselves, and that might change again when 3.0 comes out and the masses are going to play it,
Yeah.
We know how it goes. So we got Ashgard is asking us a question. Do you think the X1 will punch above its weight class?
No, size 1 weapon. I don't.
we hope that answered your question, Ashgard.
Yes, I do.
I brought up more questions than answers.
Those were the questions for this week's guys. We're going to do a round. Mac, what are you doing next week, man? What are your plans? What are you doing?
Well, my girlfriend is going away, so my stream be an hour or two longer, maybe a bit more, depending on how I feel. So, you will see more of me on streams. We still got this giveaway for the X1. God fucking forbid her. We've got the X1 giveaway running till Friday, so probably my Twitter or my streams and YouTube is the best way to find out how to enter that. Basically just covering the news, what's going on in Star Citizen. Whenever we get a new update, ATV, whatever, I try and take out as what I can from it and inform everyone. But yeah, nothing new until 3.0 drops, really.
Mighty.
Yeah, well, I earned a few million playing Elite Dangerous over the last week. Apparently, should have taken me 5 hours, but it's taken me 6 days. So there we go. So I'm going to go spend that all those simoleons tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting. And not only that, but until 3.0 drops, I've got like a backlog of games on my Steam. I just want to get through and stuff. So that's going to be interesting. I do have a giveaway. I've kind of joined up with one of my streamer pals, DuckForce1, and we've got a starter pack and a Star Citizen, an Aurora MR with a Nox. The Nox has LTI on it. You can find that on my Twitter as well, and DuckForce1's Twitter accounts. We've got that going. We're kind of like running that up until nearly 3.0 drops. So that's going to be. So you can get into it.
It's going to be a surprise.
It's right
when least expected.
Yes, exactly. So yeah.
Saurus, what are your plans?
Same thing I do every day, Pinky.
Thank you.
But yeah, so essentially just keep doing my thing. Keep streaming Star Citizen. Run the redacted stuff. Doing the podcast on Wednesday. Like I said, we're doing that big drive for the org. There it is there. I'll link it in chat.
Nice.
Yeah, so with that, we're also giving away a Cutlass Black game package and 2 Drake Dragonflies with LTI for affiliates and main members of the org on the Discord. So
nice.
If you want to become part of that. Other than that, not a whole lot, man. Just waiting for 3.0 and those leaks to start sharing it with everybody.
Should be good.
I'll just drop a redacted link in there as well.
Definitely,
I'm also a member of Redacted, so
definitely check out the Redacted guys.
People.
Yes, check them out on the Wednesday. They're doing their podcast. Make sure for your time zone to check the times. Great informative podcast with WTF and other members of the Redacted community. Definitely check the Mighty Duck out. All the links are in the MightyWrath.
Mighty Duck.
The Mighty Duck. I combined 2 streamers there. Became one, like Super Saiyans. They got together, basically. Definitely check these guys out. All the links to their social medias are in chat. And also to the Redacted guys where Ryan and Saurus are part of. For myself, I will be streaming a lot of creative. I've been a bit silent on this stuff. As most guys know, I recently started my own company and obviously we need to get the bills paid. So I've been focusing on that a bit, which has
company.
Yeah, let's share some links with that. We'll have that.
Yeah, well, it's
hookers.
No, yeah, it's graphic design. So if anyone needs any graphic design done, shameless plug, hit me up. But hopefully I can get a bit more into the streaming again, a bit of dogfighting, a bit of FPS, a bit of racing. Although I like to do that off stream as it is pretty intensive and pretty crazy. But that's my schedule. Daily 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening I should be there again. Let's see who we can host. And I always let the guests mostly decide and look into it and see who you guys feel that we should be hosting today.
Who we got on?
We got Stoutman on, which I think is pretty cool.
Yes, Stoutman's cool.
Shall we jump on Stoutman and make him go crazy?
Jump on him and make him go crazy. Is this part of your escorting business again?
Definitely. Just to reiterate again, next week, guys, on the podcast, we have the BritisonCon special. The tickets are available on the website, the bot link there. Definitely go check that out. Your early bird tickets are available where you can get some cool t-shirts and hoodies and other merchandise and other crap that you're going to put in a closet and never use again afterwards. Definitely go check that out and support the guys of the BritisonCon because they can really use your help.
Yeah, did you say there's a podcast next week for BritisonCon?
Podcast. So the Addicted podcast will change into the BritisonCon podcast for the day. So we'll have some English streamers on, hopefully, and we'll have I think, and I don't want to promise it yet. We'll have some people of the organization from BritisonCon in there as well. Misconfirm that if I'm right or not. So it will be mainly focused on BritisonCon, when it's going to happen, what are the reasons behind it, and that sort of things. And we'll focus a bit on this side of the ocean, so to say. The UK stuff. Did you want to say anything, Ryan, or?
tickets are available now. I know we've said that.
Yeah.
No, nothing more on that. I think, Saurus, you say you're streaming after this?
Yeah, definitely go
I'm
check
actually
Saurus
take a
out as
break
well.
and eat for a bit, so I'm not going to be right after this. This went a little longer than.
No, okay.
And we've been
thought,
we've been
but
early
thanks so much
today,
for having me.
Saurus. But sorry for the longevity of it, man. And thank you everyone for being here, Saurus. Thank you very much for taking your time and joining us while you're normally streaming. Red as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. Thank you very much for being here as well as always, dude. I appreciate it. My brother from this side of the ocean.
For fuck's sake.
We'll put you on the payroll. We're gonna give Stoutman some love. Throw some addicted podcasts in there. Someone can make some commands to throw in there. I stopped my Amazon Prime, so I have to wait for these freaking adverts to run out. Fuck me. Fucking hate it. Sorry for the F word there, La. But that's what we do here at the Addicted Podcast. Too late. So you have to beep it all out. There it is. Imperial Nexus put it in there. Go give them some Addicted Podcast love. Give Saltman some love. That's it. Everyone, thank you for being here. See you next time in the verse.
Catch you later.
Let's see you later.